streets, truth under attack. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling, nerves stay tight. Matchsticks flicked in the dead of night. They sell fear, cheap package the lies, while the clock keeps ticking, empires on fire. Can't sit quiet while the world's on edge. Lines in the sand, standing on the ledge. No script, no leash, no polished choir. Just a voice in the dark and a spark to the wire. This is and I'll bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. Everybody's selling truth like a brand, buying opinions they don't understand. Talking in circles, screaming online. Keyboard courage, borrowed spines. Yeah, power plays dressed up as peace. Same old wolves with different teeth. But silence is loud when the house is burning, and the fuse is short, yeah, it's still learning. I don't everybody the left or the right. I stand in the heat, I stand in the fight. No strings, no chains, no manufactured choir. Just gasoline thoughts and an open lighter. This is and I'll bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. The world's on tilt, pressure climbing. Truth don't whisper, it's perfect timing. You can't cancel the smoke, you can't stop flame. Say my name when it hits, say my name. Why? Say my name. Say my fire don't ask permission. Fire don't need a side. Fire just shows up honest and exposes the lies. This is and I'll bring the fire. Truth is harder. Burn it down till what's real survives. No smoke, no mirrors, just heat and lies. And I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. America, fire. Strike it. Let it speak.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday after July 4th, the 250th anniversary weekend. I hope everybody had fun. I hope you ate too much, maybe drank too much, watched too many fireworks, and just got it out of your system. Had a great time. I hope you celebrated what a 250th anniversary birthday of our nation deserved. I tell you, I did. I gave it my all, went to DC, and wow, did I have an experience. For those of you who are members, I recapped in detail everything I experienced last night in our members live, so you might want to go check that out. Today, I will touch upon it a little bit. I will tell you this, folks, that there are many lies already being spun by the media, by the fraudsters, the Democrats, whoever, to make Trump look bad, to make our government as currently ran look bad. And it's a whole lot of nonsense. The lies are insane. But I got to tell you, we are in a good place. It was just an amazing experience, but it left me exhausted because they kicked our butts, man. Crazy hot day, crowds everywhere. I estimate they're between the fair, between the entrance to the event for seeing Trump speak and the fireworks. I think it was probably 1 million people. I'm not even joking. It was insane. And everywhere you went, just crazy. But what happened, we're going to talk about, is the absolute failure of DC. What I believe was a campaign to discourage us, to get us just mad at Trump or upset about the whole experience, to silence him. I got a story to tell, folks, and we'll be doing it a lot today. But it's good news because it tells you we're headed in the right direction. There was a literal storm that happened on July 4th in the Capitol. You cannot make this up. Lightning struck the Washington Monument during the fireworks. I mean, it is crazy. Rain started the second the fireworks ended. I know, I was there. I'm going to tell you guys what's real and what's not real from my experience there. And as Katie in the chat, who's a member, lives in DC area, will confirm it as well. What a wild ride. They kicked us out of the event at night. They didn't let us in without any explanation. It is a wild time, guys. Wild time, but it was good. And you can tell Trump is humming on all cylinders. It's wartime now. It's go time. It's take out the communists, build up the economy. Everything's getting into position for full sprint, full speed ahead. Democrats are panicking. The deep state is panicking. All this is good. The faggot spinsters grifter report today. Candace Owens is pretty much done. The expose coming out on her. The what people are waking up to. The faggot spinsters, man, the fraudsters. They are going down in flames. It's getting worse and worse for them. Trump came out, basically saved the World Cup for America. We got to talk about that. I mean, it's so much to get to. So I did miss you guys in the last 3 days, and I'm exhausted. Went hard this weekend, went to bed at 5 a.m. Sunday morning, I should say. Tried to catch up a little bit last night, but walking 30,000 steps nearly on Friday, almost topped that again on Saturday in the hottest weather you can imagine. 103 degrees plus humid. Heat index was around 115 degrees. Insane, walking, sweating, dying with my kids. But all worth it. We are going to, it was so worth it. It was incredible. But the psyop coming out of it is crazy. So lots to talk about, guys. I will say this. I am more excited about our future than ever before. Being around all those people. I'm talking people from every country, people from every state, patriots all over. Everybody was kind. There was no fighting. There was no, it was amazing. I've never been in a crowd like that where everybody was so nice. Even the people who didn't speak English, they were nice. It was something to behold. You can't explain it unless you've been there. But I'll tell you this, with that many people showing up, okay, that many people showing up, you got to understand that it's a reflection of our country in a good way. That many people showed up, handled themselves well, and were willing to support this president at this time. It tells me that much of the narrative framing of our country right now, how quote unquote bad things are, how discouraged people are, it's just lies. I'm telling you, 1 million people. So absolutely insane, and the details are coming up. So Katie with the $30 super chat already says, don't forget to sign up all kids under 18 for Trump accounts. Here's 5 for each of the kids. Thank you, Katie. That's very sweet of you. The kids are signed up for Trump accounts. I just got to get their I got to do the final thing that they just released. But I signed them up when I did my taxes this year, so we're good. All right, let me let me get into the chat. Say hey to everybody. Please hit that like, hit that subscribe. We have a monster show today. I have so much to get into, folks. So be ready. And I get the unique take also of my own personal experience, especially in the first segment today. But let me get into the chat first, say hey to everybody, and then we're going to get up and running because, like I said, lots to get to. So let's start on Rumble. We got Nels, Sheath, AZ Tropic, Chrissy Katz holding it down over there with Don Julio coming in at the end there. We have over here on YouTube, we got Phil Zill, Marco Sanchez, Tammy Anderson, Ellen Hunt, Tracy Vigil, Miss Titan Fan, Bobby Girl, GN358, Build Fire for Christ, Dabot Todd, Ray Sandoval, Toe Cramp, Donna, Saved by Grace, Rafe, Life Force, Golden Code, Francis Riley, Henry Perez, Teresa M, George Papa Nicola, Rose, was that one? Rose Tea Petals, Joy, Fart Detonator, Scott Volkovich, DJ Fusion, Sonny Danielson, Adrienne Pantel, and so many more. Katie Cat, of course, KT Fury today, Ellen Hunt. So thank you guys for watching. I wish I could call out everybody, but it would just take way too long. As always, guys, hit up the chat. Please throw your questions, comments in there. Tag me if you're trying to get my attention. I will take breaks and get into the chat to communicate with you guys. If you want to support the channel, you can always send a super chat. Those are guaranteed to be read and answered. Guaranteed. Do not be a jerk. No trolling. That will not be allowed. We ban here. We're not afraid to do so. We like to keep this community amazing, and banning helps us do that. Sorry, it's just true. We don't like the trolls over here. No trolls allowed. So with that said, are you guys ready? You guys ready to get into it? Because man, let's see here. All right, we're gonna start with the July 4th. This is important, okay? 250th year, our big birthday. Obviously, Trump was making a big deal about it. They were making a big deal about it. We had people dropping out, famous stars saying it was just going to be a big MAGA rally, despicable stuff. So let's break down all the psyops going on around this, all the lies, what actually happened, what's true, and what is significant about it. So on July 4th this year, 2 days ago in DC, very interesting day. It started off hot as blazes. Heat wave hit the East Coast, and in DC, the swamp, it was hot and swampy. 102 on Friday, 103 on Saturday, high humidity, absolutely miserable. I can tell you from experience because I was there walking with my kids, mostly outdoors, 27,000 steps on Friday, and almost that many on Saturday. Absolutely insane. On top of that, a thunderstorm was rolling in at night. Everything seemed to be going haywire. The heat was so bad, they pushed back the opening of the fair from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock. This threw off everybody's day, many people's plans. But you could understand on there on Friday when it was open at 1, there was multiple ambulances, people passing out. You know, it was crazy. It was very crazy. But then coming into the night, as the storm was rolling in at about 7 o'clock, as I was about to enter the gates to see Trump speak, the concert, the fireworks, they sent us all packing. They said, everybody's got to go. Clear out. We're evacuating. They didn't even tell us why, other than there's a storm coming in. Later, I heard that there was a lightning strike within a mile, and so they decided to close it down. The more I thought about it over the weekend after my experience, the more I believe that this was all coordinated by the city of DC to Mayor Bowser, whoever, but to ruin the crowd for Trump. I really do believe that. As I was there between the fair and the grounds where Trump was speaking, because they were separated by different enclosures. You had to go through different entrances to get into each one. But if you talk about the entire National Mall Mall and everybody who showed up for Saturday's events, we're talking well over 1 million people. I know, I was there. This picture is not a lie that Trump posted. Now, as Trump tweeted out later, he says the crowd at 7 in the evening was 422,000 people. What Trump's talking about is just the crowd to see him and the fireworks. Here's them gathering at the Jefferson Memorial. This is actually outside of the Washington Monument where the gates were. And we were all piling in. And again, I can tell you, I was in that line. I was in one of the entrance lines. And in my entrance line alone, there was easily 100 to 150,000 people. Easily. And that was just one entrance. As I was walking up, I experienced this. So he says a crowd at 7:05 in the evening was 422,000 people. All were forced to leave because of the weather. The event was canceled and everyone was gone because of lightning. This is all true. I was there. They sent us all back. Now, I didn't see any lightning and there definitely wasn't any rain at that point. A couple drizzles here and there, but nothing serious, nothing scary. We all would have gladly sat through all that. And there were people way ahead of me who were seated at the front who were turned away and made to leave. They, of course, were very upset, and rightfully so. They did handle it peacefully, but, there is some video going around of some abrasiveness. I will tell you what, 99% of the people left. No fights, little frustration, but peacefully. There wasn't any rioting. There wasn't anything crazy. We all turned away. Now, we were confused. At this point, there was a major, and I think a psyop, because I was on X trying to get updates. I was coordinating with people I know in the area, as well as watching X, being like, what is happening? What is the deal? Is Trump canceled? Are the fireworks canceled? Well, the real news finally broke about half hour later, saying there's a postponement. But during that time, all over X, everything was coming out. Fireworks canceled, fireworks canceled, fireworks canceled. Bots were pushing it out there like crazy. It was very clear they were trying to get us all to leave for good. Many of us stayed. We waited it out. We waited to see what would happen. I was one of those with my kids. As Trump writes here, when I heard it was canceled, I immediately overturned that decision and waited a while for people to come back. Incredibly, at least 150,000 people returned. Again, I can confirm this. I was there. I was one of those who returned with my kids. We were walking in, the crowd, and my kids will tell you this. I said at the time, it feels like about 40%, 30 to 40% of what it was, which we were trying to be encouraged by, meaning that we'd get better seats. So again, we got into line. It moved much faster this time. We got back up to the front, and this time it just stopped. We stopped moving. Now, let me read Trump's thing, and I'll tell you more about what I experienced. It says, and it was even more spectacular evening than it would have been normalized. That's Trump spinning it, which I don't blame him. It showed work under pressure. Congrats to the Secret Service and law enforcement being able to get so many people back in the arena in such rapid fashion. It was an amazing evening, made even more spectacular by the fact that immediately after the great fireworks ended, the rains came down full blast. That is all true. So we got up to the front and it stopped. And the line wouldn't move anymore. I waited 20 minutes, talked to some National Guardsmen, and all they said was, we don't know why they're not letting anybody else in, but it's stopped. They haven't told us anything. So I had to make a decision at that point. Do I just continue waiting outside, or do I go try to find a spot with my kids to try to see Trump? So we decided to do that. And of course, it didn't open up again. This Washington Monument, if you haven't been to the mall, there was a seating area that was full, and they had already let in way more people in the first time. Okay, when I was first up there. Way more people were in at that point. This time they let far fewer people in and closed it off. It made no sense. Unless it was on purpose. Unless they were on purpose trying to keep Trump's crowd down. That's the only thing that makes sense. Again, the National Guard had nothing to tell us. The police didn't have any answers for us, except that they'd stopped letting people in. See, the Park Service is in control of all this, and the Park Service and the DC police and all this, they could easily coordinate this against Trump if they wanted to. And I think they were trying to get him to cancel the speech, but he is a force of nature and push through. And so that's I believe that they were trying to get Trump's entire thing canceled. But the miracle is this: Trump got out there, he spoke, and then the fireworks went off, and they were absolutely spectacular. And then the rain did calm down right after. Now, here's a little glimpse of what the crowds were like. This is a little video. Look at that line going back there. Okay, so when they're trying to say, and now for reference point, guys, this is one spot with an entrance. There were multiple entrances. There were two sides. You had to go in completely around the mall to be on both sides. This was on both sides. The lines were stretching down several blocks. When they finally let us through the barricades, it was a line that was, I'm not even joking, probably 50 people across, and many thousands of people front to back. And it might have even been more than 50 people across. It might have been 75. My point is it was massive when they finally let us in the barricades. But this is true. I mean, I'm telling you, at over 1 million people. Over 1 million people. Easy. So this is exactly what happened. Now, by the end of the night, when people were returning, there were issues with the metro. They said they were overwhelmed, not ready for so many people. There were serious traffic incidents. It was taking people an hour and a half to get out of the city. The I-95 had a wreck that completely closed it down for almost 2 hours. You couldn't move through, and they didn't even open up a lane. All of this was coordinated to make us absolutely miserable. I really do believe that. Not saying the crash was coordinated, but the fact that they wouldn't open up a lane for over an hour and a half, I believe that's all coordinated. I believe everything that went on in the city that night was on purpose to make us all feel like we should never have shown up. This was a complete failure. And the reason why I think this is not just because July 4th is because I was also there on Inauguration Day when it was freezing. And they canceled the outdoor inauguration. All of those people had shown up to watch Trump outside to speak. They canceled it. They lied about the crowds on January 6th. This is a normal thing for Trump events. They lie and they make it miserable over and over and over again because they don't want you to understand how supported President Trump is and how big the MAGA movement is. I truly believe that with all my heart. And as he says here, don't let anyone fool you. I was there. DC failed the people tonight. When it was delayed, none of the officers showed back up to check people in except for one location. Metro Police, Secret Service, nor my beloved Army knew what the F was going on and sent everyone in a million different directions. This is all true. In fact, at one point, they even separated me from my son. My son, who is just a couple people back from me in the line, when they started turning us off, they forced him and this crowd to go a different direction than us, and it took us about half an hour to get back together. Says, I walked 3.5 miles between 10 to 12 before I found it, and there were too many people to make it back in. Good news is people came back. Bad news, half the Americans who wanted to be there saw nothing but the back of each other's heads. I would say 80% of the Americans who wanted to be there saw nothing but the back of each other's heads. I would say it's much higher. They'll blame Trump, but this was on the city most unorganized event I've ever been to. And he's right. Once the storm started coming in, it was awful. He's showing his mileage here in his steps. We walked easily, as much, not more than he did, with kids. I was with my 11-year-old, 13-year-old, 16-year-old, and 18-year-old, and they were troopers, man. But to do this, to make my 11-year-old do this, I was mad. I was angry. Obviously not at Trump. It's not his fault. I understand that. But I understand politics. I understand how this all works. I pay attention to this stuff. Many people don't. I didn't notice, though, too many people getting that frustrated at, in a way to like F Trump, stuff like that. There was a couple people, but not that many. Considering how many people and what they put us through, I think that's kind of a miracle. And it shows just how amazing it all was. Now, the lies are everywhere. So they've been lying today. My son came in to me this morning and said, hey, Dad, everywhere I'm looking, they're saying that the crowd was super small. He's like, I can't believe it. I'm watching all these people lie. And I said, that's what they do, son. I said, you are witnessing. You've just experienced in person your own psyop. And he kind of smiled and said, whoa. That's crazy. I was like, yeah, this is what they do. They lie, and now you're living it. You're actually watching it in real time, this lie. And he's like, I just can't believe they're saying they're saying about the crowds. And I was like, I know, but now you know. Now you know, you've lived it, and you can tell your friends that too. But here's another example of the lies. This is about the reflecting pool, which was shut down while I was there, but there was a reason for it, as Burgum. But this is what Dana Bash and CNN's trying to push.
I was reporting about the pro-Hamas graffiti on the.
Mr. Secretary, you and I talked about this last month.
Yeah, and we're still talking about it.
Well, because it was July 4th and the reflecting pool was closed.
It was closed because it's surrounded by fireworks. It's closed every year on the 4th of July.
But it was closed prior to that in order to fix the reflecting pool.
But it was closed because the largest fireworks display in the country we talked about was set up, and it lines either side of the reflecting pool. You can't have people around fireworks when they're being set up. Now that the fireworks will come down, the fence will come down. The fence was there because of the fireworks.
You see the lies? They close the reflecting pool, and to which he replies, they always close it down on the 4th because of the fireworks. And we saw it. We looked over this reflecting pool, and you could see all the fireworks bags. It was wild, and the fireworks display was fantastic. It really was. But with all this going on, there was an all-out assault in so many ways. Here's another psyop that happened. They sent Patriot Front, this SPLC-funded, Fed-backed group from the Biden FBI. They sent them in to July 4th
looks just like
with all their masks, scaring people in D.C., making them think the white supremacists are here. Yeah, they sent them in too.
You're doing good. You're doing good.
They even got my wife to write me and say, like, this is scary, honey. Watch out. And I was like, honey, that's the Patriot Front. They're nothing. That's nothing to be scared of. They're just trying to screw everybody up. They're trying to throw everybody off and freak us out. But it was all out war on this whole July 4th thing, an all out psyop war. It's just insane. Absolutely insane. And you had states that backed out. Now, this is an incredible story right here where Governor Shapiro didn't even create a booth for Pennsylvania, but Fetterman and McCormick got together and did it, the two senators, which congrats to Fetterman, the Democrat, for doing this. So there were people who, this to me is a sign of good things coming. So when they were trying to make the event a disaster, there's even some on the Democratic side who are starting to come through and say, no, this is about America. And as it turns more and more communist, the Democratic Party gets more communist, we're going to see more and more defections like this. So the fair was amazing. There were booths for each state. It was incredible. But some Democrat states didn't show up, which tells you, where we're at. It gives you a great example where we're at, where the Democrats are at. Now, here's a little more on how Trump pushed through, and it was kind of incredible. Listen to Brett Baer quoting what the president told him when they tried to cancel the event.
Trump, he said those veterans had to go through bad weather on D-Day. I'm going through bad weather. No matter what happens, I am delivering this speech. We are going to do this program. Maybe it'll be a little bit shorter, but I'm going to do it, whether it's 10 or 11 or 2 a.m. And I said, Mr. President, there might not be anybody here. He said, I don't care. It's America 250. If they can storm the beaches of D-Day, on D-Day, I can deliver a speech and we can keep this program going. Now, he said, you got to be safe. You got to make sure everybody's okay. But he thinks that he is going to do this speech. Trump.
I think Trump knew that they were trying to stop him. They were trying to postpone the events, cancel it, 250, and he wouldn't be stopped. Now, I got to say, one thing that was cool to experience was my kids being so disappointed that the Trump speech was going to be canceled. They really wanted to see him. They got to see that Trump, amidst it all, because I showed them his Truth Social post when he declared he was coming back out. I got to show them how he's not a quitter. And I got to say, they all earned a little more respect for him right then. My kids are young. They're still learning a lot. They don't follow politics as closely as I do. And sometimes they're wondering about my fascination. But they fought through. He fought through and delivered. And he talked about it a little bit in a press conference this morning.
Tremendous crowds. We had the biggest crowd anyone's ever seen that unfortunately lightning caused it to leave. And everybody said, well, we'll do it another time. When I heard that, I said, no, we won't. Everybody had left. I said, we're not doing it another time. We're doing it on the 4th of July. And we actually started the speech on the 4th of July. We had to wait a little while, like a couple of hours, let the lightning pass. And everyone had left. And we came back, and they had 150,000 people came back from they took their car. They're going back home to Texas. They turned their car around. They came back. You wouldn't believe it, 150. I think the 150 was more impressive than the 425 or whatever it was. It was pretty amazing. And this crowd.
Proud to have been part of that crew that stayed, as Trump said. Now, but this is what they did end up pulling off, and it was spectacular. Unfortunately, I didn't get into this. Now, if you look, this is the crowd of all the people who could sit, and that's all they allowed, when there would have been standing room for tens of thousands more. They could have fit us all easily, but this is how they diminished the crowd size. But regardless, they still were able to put some stuff off. You can see, look at those fireworks. They say it's the biggest fireworks display ever set off anywhere. It was incredible, folks. I don't even know how else to say it. There was a World War II monument, but they did it. They went all out, and Trump blasted it out. I mean, and again, what's incredible is the storm stopped during this time, except for the lightning started picking up, which I saw, again, from my spiritual lens, like my faith perspective, I saw that as a God thing, because it was powerful. You saw the fireworks going off, and then you saw lightning strike in amidst the fireworks. It was incredible, including one strike that looked like it hit the Washington Monument. And you could take that to mean whatever you want. To me, it seemed like a storm was coming. And then here's the most incredible part. As Trump already said, but I was there, as soon as the fireworks stopped, and I'll tell you, I was watching the fireworks from on top of a hill with my kids. The fireworks ended. We all applauded. We turned around to walk back to get out of DC. And as soon as we turned around, started walking, the rain started dumping. It literally started. It was almost as if it was held off until the moment. And I do think that was divine. I think there was a divine symbolism there that it was held off. But regardless, just incredible stuff. As Nick Sorter reports, breaking, it's official. United States of America has broken the world record for largest fireworks show in history. Best fireworks show ever. 47 Melania spot watching the entire thing. 850,000 shells. Isn't that crazy? Last year, they only did 20,000. That's insane, folks. That's insane. Here's another angle. I mean, you can and there was a stage from where Trump spoke. We ushered in the 250th in the right way. We truly did. It was amazing. Here's a picture of just the Lincoln Memorial when it was lit up at some point. I mean, I'm telling you guys, we went off on this. It was very, very amazing. And this is the kind of thing that I love. So this is LA. In Los Angeles, it's illegal to set fireworks off. And yet the people rose up. See, this is the spirit of patriotism sweeping the nation again. Look at this in Los Angeles. Against the city's wishes, they set this all off. Isn't that incredible? So things are changing. Things are picking up back in our country. He's bringing us back. And then this is what they wanted, I believe, to stop. So here's Trump. And here's a 5-minute segment of his speech, but I want to go through a little bit here because at this speech, remember, this is the July 4th speech. This is getting, by the time this is done, it's going to have millions and millions of views. It's this clip right here already has 2 million views. Trump came out and basically announced, we're taking on communism. This is war. And I believe this was an announcement to those of us who've been paying attention that it's out in the open now. The communists, as we'd call them, deep state, City of London, it's all that system, right? And then this is where we're watching them come up in the Democratic Party. Trump openly declared war on them in this speech. This is what they were trying to stop.
Yet as we approach this magnificent anniversary, we see our American identity under a renewed attack a generation after we fought and won the Cold War against the menace of communism, there is now a resurgence of the communist menace in our land, including from newcomers to our country who embrace ideas totally opposed to our way of life and our great success. These are not mere political disagreements like differences over taxes or regulations. Communism is a mortal threat to American liberty. It is the greatest threat to our country, including World War I, World War II, Pearl Harbor, or even 9/11. We're not going to let this happen to us. Believe me, we're not letting it happen. Because communism is the enemy of free people everywhere in the world. Never works. It's the enemy of the Constitution. Above all, it's the enemy of July 4th, 1776. It is the enemy indeed. Even while the radicals and extremists attack our incredible history at every turn, they are silent on the miserable history of communism itself, because it never worked. Thousands of years, if you look at it, under different names, under somewhat different ideologies and systems, that system has led to more death and destruction than any system ever tried. It killed 100 million people just in the last century alone. Communism is the exact opposite of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's death, tyranny, and the pursuit of evil. The godless communist.
Did you hear that? It's death, tyranny, and the pursuit of evil. Oh man, he goes for it here, and it's incredible.
This morality states that anything is justified to bring about inhuman visions and to really propose what's good. They don't want good. They don't love God, and they don't want God. They don't love religion, and they don't want religion, and they won't have it. But we will not let them win. They have no chance against us. They have no respect
Powerful.
for law,
No chance against us.
justice, principle, tradition, or your God-given rights. It's an ideology of mass theft, mass control, mass lies, and mass murder. Such doctrines can be given no quarter in a democracy, because the first thing they do when they get into power is turn around and destroy it. It always is destroyed, just as communists have done in other countries all over the world, no matter where you look. Very simply, communism represents the worst ideas and abuses in history by the worst people. The American founding represents the best ideas and traditions in history by the best people like you. You can be loyal to Karl Marx, or you can be loyal to America.
Ooh, what
you
a
can
statement.
be a communist, or you can be a patriot. You cannot be both. As for those who peddle Marxist lies about our heritage, who tell our children that we live on stolen land or that our heroes were oppressors, they're doing something much worse than slandering our past. They are slandering and attacking our future. Not going to let that happen. They're trying to tear down the great American character, to destroy the people who declared independence, who crossed the Delaware, who settled the West, and conquered the skies. You know who those people are. But we will never let that happen. Our American ancestors did not shed their blood at Concord and Trenton, Gettysburg and Shiloh, Midway and Normandy, just so that a band of thieves, radicals, and lunatics could come in and loot and pillage our nation. Our heroes died to win, build, and to save, and to build truly a great country, the greatest country ever in the world.
This is incredible.
So on the eve
July 4th.
of this 250th anniversary of American heritage, we resolve and swear for all to hear that the citizens of the United States of America will vanquish communism quickly. Don't let them take too much of your time. You know they're wasting your time, don't you? But we're not going to let them take too long or too much of our time as they play their games and send them into exile. We will send them quickly away, and we will continue to build our country bigger and better and stronger than ever before. America will never be a communist country.
There it is. There it is, guys. There's the declaration. We'll never be a communist country. And they doubled down on it at the White House. They posted this. That more after the speech, you can be a communist or you can be a patriot. You cannot be both. Man, incredible stuff. This, you can see it, you can feel it, right? Trump reposted this story. A holy war against communism has begun. And Trump shares this from Town Hall. Trump declares holy war on communism in his latest speech. Holy war. Guys, we're living through history right now. Right now. Can you see it? There's a reason he got all this together. None of this is by mistake. This timing is not by mistake. As the communists are taking over the Democratic Party right now, openly, they're showing us who they've always been, but they're finally being honest. At the same time, Trump is directly targeting taking it out. And he's also messaging to all of us, we're not going to let them win. We're not going to let them win. Beautiful stuff. Stephen Miller wrote this on the morning of July 4th. It's impossible to review the events of the last decade and conclude it's anything other than divine providence. Donald J. Trump's the president of the United States on the year of America 250, July 4th. I completely agree with that. And, looking forward, we got to, this is, they've done a great job of trying to bring us back to our roots, trying to explain America, bring back that spirit. The spirit of Thomas Jefferson is, I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. Absolutely. You guys feel that in your bones when it's said? Well, you should, because you're American. And I'm telling you, the American spirit within us is indomitable. It cannot be broken. It will not be broken. As Scott Adams, I want to end this segment with this. Scott Adams, who we miss so deeply, one of the true people speaking wisdom in this time to millions of people. But Scott right here is going to break down what I believe Donald Trump believes and why one of the reasons I am so optimistic about the future. See, this July 4th, they tried to ruin our 250th in DC, as I've communicated to you guys. They're running these psyops about the event that are just simply not true, to misrepresent how big a deal this was, what Trump pulled off was, to distract from the words of his speech, from the message that we are fighting communism and we will defeat them, that we are going to win this amidst a storm, a hit on DC. If you're dooming at this point, I don't know what to say to you. America's not going away. Our best time is yet ahead. And here, as Scott's about to communicate, is one of the reasons I have so much faith in our country.
One of the things we're deeply wired by our system to appreciate is freedom. We've got 370 million wired, coded, brainwashed, designed, whatever word you want to put on it, human brains that aren't going to put up with that kind of crap. We're going to change things. We're going to change our government. So there is no risk in the United States because the citizens are so well designed. I mean, it's actually design. It's brain design, if you want to put it that way. So we are so well designed in this country that our government couldn't take our, at least an important civil liberty away any longer than the reason for doing it remained. Now, you could argue whether the reason has remained, and that will always be a gray area, but it won't be some sign of approaching evil. One of the things we're deeply...
I completely agree with this. And Scott, I studied this years ago, how a people tend to, take something into their DNA and become that. And it only takes something extremely radical to change it. It's why democracy didn't work in the Middle East when we were forcing it upon people. It was just not in their DNA to want that. Those people, many of them want an authoritarian government over them. They want Sharia law. They don't want democracy, at least not an American way. This stuff, you cannot force a people to change. People have it in their DNA. In America, we have liberty in our DNA. It's how we were founded. If you're going to defeat us, you're going to have to do it from the outside, and you're going to have to take us down. That's not going to happen, as Trump's proven with hard power. It's still encoded into us. All these people who declare they want to be socialist, they want to be communist. I guarantee you, if it got oppressive enough, if those people got in charge, many of those people who are too retarded and stupid and ignorant to know what they're actually voting for, they would change once they realize all their rights are taken away. It would happen. That's why they tried to subvert us for so long. But guess what? Just like an immune system that noticed something deeply wrong was happening, we repelled it. We brought Trump in. And part of that was divine. I believe it. I think it was an answer to prayer. I believe God had ordained it. He set it up for us. But the people still had to accept it. The people still had to say yes. And we did. We've repelled it. And now we have... Trump is that white blood cell that and he's leading those white blood cells to eradicate this communist sickness from our body, our nation's body. He is. And that it's a deep state system. It's a City of London system that's been orchestrated to take us out. But they're failing. And we put in the one person who could repel it at this point with his team, with knowing how to lead, how to build the momentum, the movement needed to get rid of it. And this is why I'm not worried going forward. I think this July 4th, everything they pulled off, I was there. Remember, I was there. I experienced it firsthand. Everything they tried to do tells me they are in full on panic. And quite literally, this July 4th, a storm was announced as being here. Quite literally. And I think that means moving forward, things are about to accelerate very quickly. And I think the winning is about to really ramp up. The way they acted proves it to me that they know it. The question is, do we? No more blackpilling, no dooming, guys. It's time to get to work. And if we all get to work, we are going to destroy them. We are going to wipe them out. And we're going to get our country on the right track for a long time moving forward. And I'll be talking more about that in the next segments. All right, guys, please hit that like, hit that subscribe. Thank you guys for watching today. I have so much more to get into. Lots of good news. Lots of good news. But first, I do want to get to your questions and comments in the stream for anybody who is tagged me or super chat. Let me make sure I catch up with you all. Let's see here. Oh, a couple super chats did come in. All right, we got Nick Majors with a $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Nick. We love you guys too. Appreciate you, man. One of the many with a $10 super chat says, Americans weathering the storm despite being misled and discouraged, and Trump pulling off success despite all the outside factors will prove to be a condensed metaphor for his presidency. Amen, man. I think, yeah, absolutely. In many ways, it already has been. I completely agree with you there. Okay, let me make sure I'm not missing anybody who tagged me. Mods, are we making sure there's no trolls in the chat? I do know we're at 1,100 watching right now, and when I talk about stuff like this, the trolls usually tend to come out. So please keep an eye on the chat. We don't want to get gunked up by the jerks. Let's see here. Okay, I'm not seeing too much. I noticed YouTube's already cut off a lot of the chat, guys. So if I missed you, if you tagged me on something, I do apologize. But I will do my best. Just, try to write again. Stay on top of it. We have Andrew Thompson. Dilbert, Calvin, and Hobbes were my favorite comic strips. R.I.P. Scott Adams. Listen, Scott is not perfect. He was a flawed human, but he was brilliant, and he understood Trump and what's going on in America much better than anybody else. I saw somebody be like, oh, he promoted the COVID vax. Yeah, but he also came back later and said that the people who are anti that vax were right. Okay, so I'm telling you, like, Scott, in his genius and his thinking, like, he was able to overcome the areas where he had been deceived. None of us, and I repeat, none of us 100% catch the psyops in real time. Nobody does. I'm sorry. If you think that you've never been psyoped into anything, you're deceiving yourself. And that includes somebody like Scott Adams. That includes somebody like Charlie Kirk. Everybody has been wrong at some point. The question is not whether or not you've ever been wrong. The question is, are you intellectually honest enough to overcome it, to grow, to keep seeking information? And Scott was. And there'll be no besmirching Scott Adams in this chat. He is one of my favorite people who's ever lived. Scott, I personally attribute a lot of my personal growth to Scott Adams. And if you guys were here long enough, I did a show when Scott died completely devoted to him. And it's the only show in which I actually cried on camera. I couldn't get through it. So just telling you, he's very important to me. So you guys, be respectful. Dave Ricard says, I think it was intentional with the lack of personnel at checkpoint. The evacuation demoralized people 100%. Robert asks, you're a troll if you ask questions. No, nobody is a troll for asking questions. You're only a troll if your questions are purposely directed to try and make people feel stupid or are not real questions. And trust me, I know exactly what the difference is. So if I start seeing fake questions, like the kind of questions are trying to drive home a point without actually being open, that is trolling, and those will be clipped out. DJ says, I believe when all is done by the end of Trump's second term, country will be 70-30. It's going to be beautiful. I think it's already 70-30 or close to it, 60, 65, 70, 30. And we're just not all the way. We haven't broken through all the deception and the election engineering, all that yet. Justin Mimo says, nurturing the next generation with hope and patriotism. Amen. Holy Moly says, Vance's wife is allegiance to India and Hindu. I completely disagree with you. I think she is a patriotic American. I think she was raised Hindu and she hasn't yet turned from it, but there's nothing about them that says they're devout or that she is devout. And there's definitely nothing that says she's loyal to India. I'm sorry. That's just does not make sense to me. I'm sorry. But I just completely I don't accept that premise right there. Not from what I've seen and researched. I'm sorry. So, okay, we got so much more to get into, guys. So let's do it. Based upon what I just covered, that's kind of where we're at. Let's talk about where we're going, because I think we are already seeing several signs that America is about to get much, much better, not for the short term, for the long term. We have what Trump is doing is generational change. It's generational. It's for the long term, for the next 250 years. We are living, if you guys looked at my previous videos, you guys know that I look at what's happening right now as the true ending of the American Revolution, what was started there. The complete getting out of, pushing out of this British system, this British Empire system that has controlled us or attempted to control us since the beginning. And so just letting you guys know that I think we are, Trump is doing so much more than is being led on, including completely changing our economic system, completely restructuring geopolitics, our role in geopolitics, and extricating us from agreements and entanglements that are bad for us, so that we can be American first, we can be sovereign, we can build our nation free for the first time in so long. Holy moly, if you're going to say stuff like that, if you're going to make allegations, you need to bring some proof. You don't just say it. Don't just say it and call me stupid. Okay? Just you bring actual proof. You can bring actual legit evidence. I will look at it. Okay? But I'm not going to take it just because you say I'm wrong. That's a really stupid way to win an argument. Okay? And just calling me blind is not a way to win an argument. I'm sorry. That's just not going to get anything done. Okay? And I don't play the whole, you know what one of the stupidest ways to be psyoped is? One of the best ways to lose your mind is to play the whole guilt by association game. Because association and connection doesn't always mean what you think it means. Sometimes it's just they all ran in the same circle. Sometimes it's, you might have had a blood connection. Whatever it is, it doesn't mean guilt. And so we don't play the guilt by association game here. We play the game of have receipts. And if there's a connection that is going in a trend, That's one thing. So if Gavin Newsom is destroying California and his auntie is Nancy Pelosi, well, okay, then that association makes sense because they're doing the same thing. But if you say Trump is connected to Epstein, and you throw that out there to make Trump look bad, when Trump's connection to Epstein was that he figured out what Epstein was doing and then turned him in. See, those are diverging paths. And so in that case, the guilt by association doesn't make sense. So you cannot tell me that somebody is guilty by association. That is not evidence. I'm sorry. So if that's all you got nothing. All right. So like, I'm not playing that game. So that's what Whitney Webb does, and that's how she psyops everybody to be completely black-pilled forever. All right? That's Dan the Man asks, how do you bring evidence to a live chat? Well, you actually bring direct facts. You can say a direct fact in here, and so I could go look at something. You don't just say you're wrong. Okay? That doesn't help anything. So, okay. My Dog Buddha, to get member stuff, go to the community tab and on my channel and click the community tab, and then the members only should pop up for you. And then you'll have the links to the members only lives. Okay. Now I want to get into this. Sorry for the distraction. I got distracted for a second. All right. Trump is building for the future. After this July 4th, where Trump blatantly came out against communism and decreed the next 250 years will be even better, I got to tell you, he's backing it up. One of the ways he's backing it up is by the investment into our future young. You understand that one of the reasons the economy isn't turning around as quickly as people want is because there's only one way to do it as quickly as people want, and it's a temporary fix. It is stimulus. It is pumping money. Trump refuses to do that because that is sacrificing the future for the now. What Trump's doing is he's doing everything the right way. The way that will build wealth and prosperity for generations. And yeah, it's going to work a little slower at first, but he's cut taxes, he's cut regulations, and he's creating policies to create investment here in our manufacturing, get us off the teat of China and other places, while also investing in our children. And these policies are a little slower, but once they take off, we will see the best economy we've ever seen. I continue to believe that. One of the reasons I believe that is because of these Trump accounts, which today they announced that they are fully in effect now. And so here is a little breakdown. This is from Michael Dell, who is also donating billions of dollars into these accounts to get them started for our children and our future. But this is a prime example of how Trump's vision for the future is so much deeper and better and long-lasting than he's getting credit for.
Susan and I are very honored to be here as we celebrate the 250th. 42 years ago, I started a company in my dorm room with $1,000. And today, every newborn American child will start their life with $1,000 invested in America's greatest companies, compounding for the future. But Susan and I didn't want the children that were born just before to be completely left out. So we are contributing $6.25 billion, $250 to 25 million eligible American children born between the ages of 2016 and 2024. Invested in America's greatest companies, for their future, for their tuition, for down payments, for startup capital, for a business. And to every business leader out there who hasn't already joined us, please join us. 250 years ago, our founders, in the Declaration of Independence, which is right there, pledged their fortunes to an idea. Today, we're pledging our fortune to the next generation of children. So to tens of millions of American children, your American story starts now. Thank you. Susan.
Amazing stuff. Listen, I get there's real anger at billionaires, and because there's a lot of people who've taken advantage of stuff. But to be honest, they've taken advantage of what the government's allowed them to take advantage of. Let's just be honest and real about that. That's what the system set up. If you were a billionaire, you would take advantage of tax loopholes and such too. I'm not saying they're all good. Obviously, there's evil ones like Bill Gates and etc. There are, but that's not most of them. And many of these people are patriots, and this is a good example of true patriotism. Billions of dollars donated to give our kids a future. It's incredible stuff, and I think these Trump accounts are going to have a real effect.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am so grateful to you for making the Invest America Act happen. You have made investing in America's children such an important initiative for our country. These accounts are a statement of belief in our nation's young people, and believing in our country's children matters enormously. The incredible leaders of our future leaders of our country are the young children that we are raising today.
Amen. They list it very, very well. Now, based on what these Trump accounts will do. Now, these Trump accounts are kind of like 401ks for kids. You know, they got to wait till they're 18, and they'll build slowly based on like what they're. I don't know how they all work yet. I haven't been in it yet for my kids, but I'll tell you. Here's the estimates they're putting out there from Council of Economic Advisors. If there's no contributions made, and it just starts with this $1,000 for 18 years, they believe that by age 18, each kid will have $5,800. That's amazing. And there, unfortunately, there'll be lots of kids where their parents don't put anything else in. But it's still, you know what I could have done at age 18 with $6,000? That would have been huge. It would have helped me get my first apartment, maybe put a down payment on a car. It would have been massive. I would have gladly taken it. If you put your contributions in, by 28, if you leave it in, it's 18,000. If you put the maximum contributions as which you can put in 5,000 a year, they estimate it could get up to this. We could set kids free out of poverty completely. Now, obviously, not everybody's going to make those $5,000 a year. I get it. That's not going to happen. But just somewhere in the middle, and you set your kid up much better because of what Trump's starting with. It's incredible stuff. Incredible, forward thinking. But here's the thing that this doesn't account for. This doesn't account for the fact that this gets people invested early into true wealth. See, the only way to become truly wealthy is to learn how to make money work for you. That's the only way to become truly wealthy. You can work your butt off, but as long as you're substituting time for money, energy for money, you could be rich, but you're not truly wealthy. True wealth is when you don't have to work for your money anymore. Your money is working for itself. Very few people actually get there. This creates the idea of how people can get there. And by learning at a young age, the stuff that the vast majority of us were never taught, because they don't teach financial literacy in school. They don't want you. They want you to be an employee. They want you to be a slave to corporations and the government growing up. That's why everything is learn facts, raise your hand to go to the bathroom, stand up, sit down, be quiet. Everything in school, public school and college, is teaching you how to be a good employee who doesn't critically think, who just learns facts and figures and shows up and says, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. That's what you're taught in school. They don't teach you freedom. This is going to force kids and parents to learn the road to financial freedom. That, my friends, is a generational shift. That is what really changes things more than the money itself. That cannot be accounted right here. Because you better believe a lot of these kids, they find out about this, they're going to be taking stock. They're going to be watching their account. They're going to try to find out. They're going to be excited about this money. And yeah, some dummies will get 18 and they'll just cash it all out. Absolutely. Okay? They'll just cash it all out. That's going to happen. There's always going to be dummies. But even those kids will be on a better foot forward than before. So again, the financial literacy is going to be huge. Now, Elon's jumping in on this. 2 million SpaceX shares being donated to the Trump accounts, as Trump said in this interview.
Doing good. Yeah, he's moved on. Do you think If you talk to him about donating SpaceX to something you might want to talk about, or donating SpaceX stock to Trump accounts.
Well, I think that he will do that. Micron, which is a great company, just did it. Yeah. Michael Tell is a fantastic guy. He did $6,250,000,000.
Are you ringing the bell next week or something?
And I'm ringing the bell right here, I think. They're going to have a bell, and it's New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ. I said, what do you mean? They don't do both?
You're invited to the NASDAQ if you want to.
Well, well, that's interesting. It's very interesting. No, they're doing it together. It's the first time.
I can do that.
No, but you know what they're doing? I was surprised. They're doing it together. New York Stock Exchange, I think Jeff is coming in, and the head of NASDAQ is coming in, and we're doing it together. See? It can happen.
Bringing people together. It's incredible. It's incredible. Again, this is all future forward. It's all thinking forward for the future. It's unbelievable stuff. But that's not all Trump's changing. As Peter St. Ong reports here, the best companies now do their growing in private, where politicians only let the rich in. Then they IPO after 100x is gone and dump the scraps in your 401k. But Trump wants to open up the 401ks. As Wall Street Map says, rich people are allowed to invest in good stuff like pre-IPO shares where regular Americans get leftovers. Trump wants to change old Labor Department rule so regular people can invest like the rich already do. In other words, they're opening it up so you can pick a company that hasn't on the stock market yet and invest in it. And that is where most of the money is started. Imagine being able to get investments in Tesla at $3 a share before they went IPO. Imagine that. SpaceX, think of all the people, all the employees who just became millionaires because of having stock before the IPO. This is what Trump wants to open up to regular Americans. It's no less risky than the stock market itself. In fact, it might even be less risky because these shares aren't being traded. Incredible stuff, isn't it? At least not at the same rate those other ones are being traded. This is how you win. Now, speaking of SpaceX and stuff, I've just recently told my kids, are about to they're getting their first jobs. I say, listen, every month buy one share of SpaceX. Just buy one, whether it's 150, 140, 175. Just buy one, because in 10 years, 20 years, those shares might be $3,000. I would bet on SpaceX over pretty much anything. Is they're about to thinking of already buying T-Mobile as Elon might eventually merge Tesla into it. You never know. But am I going to bet against that company long term? Am I going to bet against Elon? Absolutely not. Teach your kids little stuff like this. It's incredible stuff. Go move forward. But Jimmy Carter started this. Why do you think Jimmy Carter started this? We were told it's for our protection. No, it's not. It's so you can't grow your wealth. That's what the government's been trying to do for all of us for a long time. We were told it's the rich that wanted us to not be wealthy, but no, that's not it at all. See, most wealthy people understand that it's not like they don't have this scarcity mindset. Most wealthy people have an abundance mindset. They believe there's enough for everybody and it can raise all tides. And for most of them, it's a good thing. They look at it that way. More rich people can buy more. No, but the government, on the other hand, has the opposite feeling. And corporations that are in cahoots with the government, who don't want competition. Yeah, and in those cases, there's some that would want to keep you down. The point, though, is that these are the people that were bad. That capitalism, by creating a natural marketplace, it eliminates this problem over time. But what did the government do? It creates regulations that kill capitalism, create a crony capitalism or a corporatism that leads to socialism that eliminates the ability to generate wealth. And that's what they've been doing for a long time. Trump is working on erasing this stuff to get us to the point where we can build futures. And now kids are going to learn this from the very beginning. I'm telling you guys, this will generationally shift our government. Now, Trump's also done so much more. For everybody worried about BlackRock and all this, here is something Trump did back in the day that people forget about. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink worried about New York City under Mamdani, floats investing somewhere else. Now, BlackRock is no one we want to deal with. But people forget that Trump changed things with the Fed and Treasury back under COVID. In fact, right here, it says the Fed hired BlackRock Inc. owner purchase securities, handle administration of SPVs on behalf of the owner, the Treasury. In other words, BlackRock will be doing the trades for the Treasury. This scheme essentially merges the Fed and Treasury into one organization. So meet your new Fed chairman, Donald Trump. This is what happened back under COVID when Trump, the bill he passed that got us our first stimulus checks, also brought the Fed and the Treasury much closer. And then they got control in many aspects. I mean, not direct control, but indirect control of companies like BlackRock, partnerships with BlackRock. So the BlackRock of that day might not be the same as now. Okay? It might not be the same as now. Again, these are generational changes, and it's probably the reason why BlackRock has been allowed to stay around with Larry Fink. Larry Fink is not a good dude. He's been trying to, BlackRock has done many evil things, but what has Trump been doing? They're about to pass a housing bill that's going to limit BlackRock purchasing single-family housing. And many people are like, why is Trump, why is he not taking out these tech companies? Why is he not taking out these Wall Street companies? Is it completely possible that Trump has already gotten them to submit in some way, shape, or form? Because ultimately, these companies, more than anything else, they care about profit. Profit, growth, and innovation. The vast majority of them. Is it possible Trump is steering them all in new directions because of what he has on them? I think the answer is yes. And I think it makes a lot of sense. Now, speaking financially, we've been hearing for a long time, and I've been one of those who've said it, that we have an AI bubble. And that's absolutely true. Why hasn't this AI bubble crashed? In fact, it's stumped many of us, including people I know who have much, much more knowledge and experience on Wall Street than I do. Friends of mine who've been around Wall Street for 40 plus years. They don't understand why a crash hasn't happened. And it's been kind of baffling. This is the first time I've ever seen a breakdown of why this might be. And this makes a lot of sense. Listen, Trump has expertly averted AI bubble crash by setting the scaffolding early. Is this possible? I think it might be. The old system was trying to run the .com playbook all over again, inflate the story, centralize the rails, overbuild infrastructure, trap the users inside, then let the crash land on the taxpayer while insiders pick through the wreckage. That very well might be what have happened, and it would have been the ultimate City of London move. They did it with .com in 2001. They did it with mortgages in 2008. They completely restructured our system by these crashes that they allowed to happen, that they orchestrated. So this assumes that Trump moved in before the cycle could close. He pulled AI out of the hype layer and placed it where it belonged in national security. Now, that is absolutely true. It says that changed the entire board. Now AI is no longer just models, apps, and press releases. It's energy, chips, data centers, grid capacity, federal adoption, military readiness, intelligence processing, infrastructure, model control, open source, sovereign data, and real-world deployment. This is the early scaffolding. He's right about all that. Trump has made all these deals with these AI companies. He's consolidated them. Fascinating. Data center build out gets tied to permitting power. Grid gets tied to national defense. Model layer gets pressured by open source. Federal adoption forces accountability. Palantir becomes the operating spine that connects AI to real missions, real data, and real consequences. If he's right in this post, and so far there's nothing to suggest he's not that I've seen. If he's right, this would mean that Trump, working with all these tech guys, has actually created the safety net for AI and put it in a way that A, keeps our stock market from crashing, which is exactly what City of London would like to do to Trump and the economy right now. But it also makes AI work for all of us in the right way. Is it possible that all the dooming about data centers is a psyop? Is it possible? Is it possible all the dooming about Palantir is a psyop? I believe yes. I keep listening to Peter Thiel and Alex Karp, and I got to tell you guys, I'm not scared of what they're saying. I'm just not. I continue to hear it, and I do take it seriously because so many people keep bringing it to me. So I do take it seriously, but I keep looking into it, guys, and all I see, the fear is always speculative, and I can't find the evidence that backs up the fear. I just can't. This makes much more sense, and it would also explain why Trump is supporting this stuff. because he might have the exact hold on it to make it all work. He says, this is how you turn a bubble into a stress test. The bubble does not disappear, it gets aimed. Those building real infrastructure rise. Those building another extraction machine take the hit. The old system wanted private upside and public cleanup, not this time. No more AI bubble burst on the taxpayer's back. No more monopoly dreams hidden inside black boxes. No more pretending hype's infrastructure. Open source pressures from above. Sovereignty pressures from above. Truth forces exposure. Align your model, your data, your infrastructure, your incentives to sovereignty or take the fall. Trump was never reacting to the AI race. He was a million moves ahead, setting the rails early so the good guys could rise, bad guys could absorb the hit, and the whole system would be forced to show who's building the future and who is selling it. I think there actually might be some trust here, guys. I actually think there might be some trust here, or some truth here, because what Trump's been doing has been baffling a lot of the people scared of technocrats, while at the same time dismantling the technocratic system coming out of Europe that they already live in. So he's been dismantling the technocracy that Europe lives in, that Obama tried to get instituted here and started to institute here. That's all being dismantled. And yet at the exact same time, he's been cozying up to guys in the tech world, Mark Andreessen, Elon Musk, David Sachs, Palantir. Is it possible that those guys are all aligned on the sovereigntist side of things? That those guys are all aligned on making this stuff work for the people? I'll tell you what, one thing we've heard so much so far that has not happened yet is that there was going to be mass firings. There has been some, but you know what? They're not telling you. A lot of those companies are rehiring many people because the AI boom to come to destroy our working man economy is just not happening. It's just not. What they're finding AI useful for is much different. In fact, they're finding that it's creating more productivity, but also needs to be managed more by people. And so it's creating an economic boom while not killing jobs, guys. This is not being reported, but that's what we're seeing. Think about this. AI, ChatGPT really came on the stage in 2022, 4 years ago. Around this time is when, 4 years ago is when I started using it a lot. Have you noticed that everybody said we'd all be completely wiped out by now, jobs-wise? Have you noticed that? And yet, it's 4 years later. Where's all those firings? Do most of you guys still have your job? How many of you guys have lost your job because of AI? Despite all the dooming, there's 1,100 people on here right now. Shouldn't there be a lot of you coming out and saying, like, if this was a huge problem, shouldn't I see at least 50 people say that they got fired? You know, shouldn't we see that? Where is that? I don't see it. Interesting. Is it possible that AI is going to do what the internet did and actually create an economic boost for us and make it easier for the small people to make a lot of money? I think that's actually very possible, and I can tell you from my own experience. But this is not the only thing that's happening. Trump is taking off other guardrails from tech that we didn't even know was there. Look at this post. This is crazy. This is from Akash Gupta, product guy. 6-hour flight to LA to New York is about to become 3 hours. And it's legal because engineers figured out how to bend sound. Since 1973, it's been a federal crime for any passenger plane. Sorry, guys, I keep getting this like itch on my nose. For any passenger plane to fly faster than the speed of sound over American soil. That's why your cross-country flight takes the same 6 hours it took your parents in the 80s. Planes got faster, safer, and more efficient. They never got faster. The law made faster illegal. The original reason was real. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Here's what changed. Speed of sound isn't constant. It shifts with air temperature, which shifts with altitude. NASA measured what people underneath actually hear. Faint rumble, no crack, no broken windows. So the FAA's new rule flips the logic. New rule. That means instituted by Trump in this new era, by his new bureaucracy. Instead of banning the speed, it caps the sound allowed to hit the ground. Stay quiet. You can fly as fast as the plane will go. Boom already proved that tech works in real test flight. Last time you could fly supersonic, a Concorde ticket cost about $12,000 round trip and only cross the ocean. Next version flies over land over your house. You'll never hear it coming. Guys, we're about to get faster even flying because of tech because of deregulation. These are the little things that don't seem like a big deal, but this changes so much. This means you go faster, flights go faster. Not only does your travel day get better, it means they can fit more flights in, which also means cheaper prices down the road. More abundance, more choice. Isn't that amazing? This is the kind of future we're looking at. Now, Trump, in this interview he just had, I think he's trying to get us to dream again about our economy. And again, I've said many times that the economy we might be seeing because of this American system he's reinstituting should be better than anything we've ever seen in our lives. And I think Trump's hinting at what's possible here.
Well, he's got a board that maybe is a little bit hostile, and, unfortunately, and maybe a board that wants to do the wrong thing. So I don't know. He's a great guy and a great pro, and I know where he'd like to be, but he has to do what he has to do. I really think that I would love to be able to get back. In the old days, probably maybe before you started thinking about these things, but if you go back 20 or 25 years, when you announced great numbers, the stock market went up. When you announced bad numbers, the stock market would go down. Today, it's the opposite. When you announce good numbers, the stock market goes down, sometimes really way down, depending on how good. The better they are, the more, because they have this phobia, they have this horrible derangement syndrome about inflation. And growth can be good for inflation, not just bad for inflation. And it's a shame. Anytime numbers are announced that are not so good, I wish they could flip it the old way, that when you announce great numbers, because otherwise it's almost like they want to kill strength. They want to kill success. You announce good numbers. I want to, you have a couple of countries. India is one, doing very well, but it's at 7-8%. Others, take a look at Japan's numbers. I mean, they're doing very well. She's very good. She's doing a good job, a friend of mine. But they're allowed to go up. We're not allowed to go up. If we go up, they want to kill it. There's no reason we should stop at 4%. We should be at 12% and 13% GDP. And I hate what happens where in the old days we would be, that's how we built the country.
Yep.
Now you announce positive things and they want to bring it down by raising interest rates.
He's talking about the Fed system, 1913, the controlled growth, and AKA what really was the controlled decline of our country over time. This is the Keynesian economics. This is what Obama really pushed. Now, it's been around since 1913, and they've gotten more and more control. But Obama was the one who came up and said, 2%, that's going to be our new normal growth. That's what we can expect from now forward. 2% would be a good year. No, Trump, again, we have a free thinker in the office between Trump, Bissett, running our economy, saying, no, we don't have to put these limits on there. Why do we have to keep taming our economy? Why do we have to keep it controlled? Because that's good for everybody except Main Street. Everybody except Main Street. But again, you back off of that, you get us back to the American system, and we can see explosive growth years. The last time we saw explosive growth was under Reagan, where we hit about 8% a couple years. We haven't seen that since. I believe we could see that soon if Trump succeeds in getting everything in place. Now, Trump was putting out this kind of stuff today. Dr. John Trump of MIT. Remember, Dr. John Trump is who inherited his uncle, who is MIT professor, brilliant man, inherited all of Tesla's stuff, his documents, his inventions, how he broke them down. That's who it got left to. What is Trump trying to tell us here? Age of innovation coming? Is there much more about to come out? It's been long speculated that many of Tesla's breakthroughs were held back by the government. We've already seen what happens when you erase managed decline from the military, and look how effective they are now. Better than we've seen operations from our military that just we were told could never happen. We've never seen happen. Venezuela, the way we took out Iran's military, just unbelievable stuff. Is it possible that this is coming to many other areas as well? And speaking of Iran, people are starting to wake up to what's actually finally happened in Iran, how is a key to changing geopolitics going forward. As Matt Forney writes here, the Iran war effectively destroyed every nation outside of the Americas as a rival to the U.S. Man, I love when people start saying what I've been saying for 2.5 months, how Iran was the key. It exposed NATO, it exposed China, it reshifted the whole energy dominance to us. Man, I love when people wake up to this stuff. It makes me so happy. But it destroyed every nation outside the Americas as a rival. Iran's broken as a contender for power. They can't even sell their oil. Tankers are ignoring the IRGC, transiting via Omani, protected by U.S. Navy. Iran's too cowardly to commit acts of war off Omani. Oman's made it clear they'll never support Iran's delusional plan. Iran can't get a single tanker to dock at its ports. Their economy is a tailspin. Inflation is approaching pre-Malay Argentine numbers, which means hundreds of percentage points. A famine is a very real possibility. They import half their food. No one's willing to sell to a pirate state. Keep shooting at commercial traffic. See, you got to understand the Trump team probably knew this. Oh, sure, you guys can go sell their oil and then nobody buys it. Iran's failed to uphold its end of the MOU and hasn't received a single dollar in unfrozen funds. MOU was a test to see if they could behave. They failed. Demand destruction has been concentrated almost entirely in Europe and Asia. You hear this? Demand destruction concentrated in Europe, which that's the City of London system, and Asia, which is China and India. They're crippled. Trump used Iran to completely reassert our dominance on the world stage. Isn't it amazing? Just as I said, just as me, Tom Luongo, certain group of voices, Promethean Action, have been saying, well, everybody else is out there dooming about Iran. We were trying to tell you guys, no, this makes so much sense. And look, it's happening. Trump has completely reshaped the earth. The complete geopolitical field made us so much stronger in just 3.5 months. Wow, that's incredible. Chinese will be faced with the choice of switching off data centers, stalling development of AI they stole, or forcing Chinese citizens to eat babies. Starve or stop your AI. That gives us a bigger leg up. Europe, already deindustrializing thanks to Ukraine, has been dealt a death blow. They won't recover for decades, possibly generations. Denmark might end up selling Greenland to us to stave off a depression. Wow. It's almost like Trump knows what he's doing, huh, guys? War has forced countries relying on straight oil flows to accelerate Plan Bs in the same way 70s oil embargo forced U.S. to begin oil extraction in Alaska. UAE will complete new Gulf of Oman pipeline, rendering the strait obsolete. Oh, that's all we ever heard about, though. They control the strait. The strait matters. No, it didn't. Trump forced the world to do something different. Much like how the discovery of America has allowed Europe to circumvent the Middle East when trading with China, turning the region irrelevant backwater. Country benefited most was America. Iran's been severed from global economy and even from BRICS. Buyers now have to go to America or allies. Refineries in Texas, Louisiana are booming thanks to Venezuela realigning with the U.S. China will have to do what we say if they want energy. Trump just won the war against China without firing a single shot against them. It's amazing stuff, guys. Energy prices in the U.S. are now so substantially lower than in Europe and Asia. Offshoring and outsourcing are no longer financially prudent. Turns out the way for manufacturing to compete with cheap labor countries like India is to make cheap labor expensive. Jobs and investment are coming back to America, the only sure bet. With demand destruction creating oil glut, Americans will be enjoying $2.50 gallon of gas or lower by next year while the rest of the world starves. Iran war also crippled Russia. Combination of demand destruction, Ukrainian attacks on Russia sparked off an energy crisis there. That is true. But I actually do believe that Russia strengthened against Ukraine. This is the one area I disagree with them, but we can talk about that another time. In one stroke, Trump cemented American dominance over the world. Iran, China, India, Europe, Russia, Africa, all crushed. He pressed fix everything button, and all it took was paying 50 cents more at the pump for a couple of months. That was more than worth it. Empire rises. Do you understand how big a deal this is moving forward? I mean, restructuring geopolitics. For everybody who's like, oh, the American debt's such a big deal. How? Tell me how. Because the debt is only a massive deal if it can be held as leverage against us. You understand that? Yeah, I know it costs tax dollars to pay off the interest and stuff. That sucks. But as wealthy people understand, as long as you have more assets than debt, you're ahead. As long as you have more leverage than debt, if you are more important than the bank that loaned you the money, who's got the real leverage? What is the debt affecting? Trump has completely changed our future, folks. And he did it with still 2.5 years left. The enemy hasn't been fully cleaned out yet, but I'll tell you, they've been mostly defeated. And again, as I've been saying over and over and over again, the only way we lose is if we quit. That's it. That's the only way we lose. So we don't quit. We show up to vote. We fight. We do everything we can in our own lives to grow stuff, to move things forward, and we don't lose. But again, this is incredible, incredible stuff. And is it any coincidence that all this is going on? And then on the 4th of July, Putin reaches out to Trump to visit Russia. Is ARC coming into effect? Are America, Russia, and China making amends to get to a point where we will be the three world powers, with us being the only superpower? We'll be the three world powers who are sovereign, who police the areas around us, who trade with each other, get along, and make sure that the vast majority of the world is in peace and has, thriving economies. This does not mean they won't ever be rivals to us in certain aspects. It doesn't mean we won't compete with one another. It doesn't mean Putin's authoritarianism is good, and it doesn't mean communist China system is good. It doesn't mean any of that. It doesn't mean these are going to become our best friends. It means we enter into a mutual agreement where we all focus on sovereignty and how to get along with each other. That is a massive win. I believe that's what we're headed towards. And Trump is continuing to show that. Now, why will this last? Well, I think it's going to last because our culture is shifting. And I think we're only at the beginning of this cultural shift. Here is Asmongold, the #1 streamer in the world. He gets a lot of young people watching him. And here's him talking about the benefits of Christianity to our nation.
That's right. Is this something like, I don't want to mandate Christianity. I don't want to make people have to be Christian, but I want to have the laws and the culture and the predominant religion of the country be Christianity. Does that make sense? I would never force anybody into a religion, and I think people can enjoy other religions if they choose to, but I think these should be minority religions and not the overall religion. I just want you to see what my point of view is.
So you have Asmongold telling his millions of watchers, mostly young people, that Christianity is the best way to run a nation. And people are dooming about the future? Are you kidding me? This man has far more influence than almost everybody in the media. He's got more influence than Tucker Carlson, more influence than Candace Owens, more influence than almost anybody but Trump. That's what it means to be the top streamer these days, especially with the young people. He's got more influence than Joe Rogan. You probably haven't heard about him, or many people haven't if they're 40 or older. I'd say 50 and older, because that's not his target demographic. But if he gets people believing, and already we're having a revival of Christianity in our nations. For the first time in decades, it's ticking back up. That's a cultural revival, folks. Our country is heading back in the right direction. And these are the kind of tells that we're headed there. And as I point out so often, the birthing rate. Trump voters have more children at every age, but widest among the young. And look at these numbers. They are staggering. So among ages 35 to 49, which is millennials, we're having about 1.5 times more children than them, say 1.3 more children. It's the birth rate's more, but not as much. 50 plus, much closer. Look at the youth, the young people. Generation Z. They have 3, almost 4 times as many kids as the liberals. That's the future, guys. That's the future. And for everybody who's like, kids rebel. Actually, 80% of kids don't. 80%. Oh, and by the way, they rebel on both sides, that 20%. So if we lose 20% of our kids to the left, which actually will become smaller and smaller as far fewer kids are going to public school and to college, as that 20% rebels, well, we'll collect some of theirs back, and it will be overwhelmingly red moving forward. We're heading, guys, to a much, much more red future. And by red, I mean liberty, patriotism, common sense, traditional values, free markets, gun rights. That is our future. More and more people heading in that direction, overwhelmingly so. This is our future. You guys are dooming? This is coming in 2030, just 4 years away. We win 2028, it's over for a very long time. Democrats could lose up to 15 electoral college votes after 2030 census. Republican gains Texas, Florida, Idaho, Utah. Democrat lost seats. And then there's a few toss-ups. With that reapportionment, it becomes, there's very few swing states, and it becomes Democrats actually have to flip flat out red states in order to win ever again. Once this generational change goes into full effect, guys, which will be in the next 4 or 5 years, it puts us in position, if we do not lose 28, the presidency, which we won't, but if for somehow they got it, then it just pushes us back a little bit, because the people are going to be so red in this nation, they're not going to be able to stay in power. But if we win in 28 and we retain the presidency, looking forward, we're talking about dominating the politics for a generation, which could be 20, 40 years. Again, folks, when you put all this together and the shape of the economy, what's about to come, the booming, which will wake more people up, you put everything Trump's doing together along with the demographic changes, we have a very, very bright future ahead. And so I won't accept any dooming on this channel. It's only getting better from here. Hit that like and subscribe, guys. We got a lot more coming. We're going to get into the midterms and how that's looking better for Republicans right now as well. But first, I got to come into the chat, make sure I catch up with everybody, see who might have hit me up with a tag, with super chats. I don't want to ignore anybody. I got Free Nez with a $5 super chat. Says if your kids can't afford to share a month of SpaceX, they can buy fractional shares on Robinhood and dividends or reinvest in stock. I love that idea. Thank you. Dennis says, you might have noticed dollar has strengthened in recent weeks while the stock market's at or near record highs, which suggests there's major capital flows coming in the U.S. Amen. Freenaz, thank you so much. I didn't say thank you enough for the gift. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, as you have many times. Pulte fired 350,000. Are we sure that's a legitimate source? Because I haven't seen that confirmed by somebody legitimate, but I could have missed it. All right, Toe, bless you, brother. I trust, there's other mods watching who probably aren't talking. So, and I'll do my best to police the chat as well. I do see a couple trolls got the boot. So, MFN Tango, member for 2 months. Thank you, MFN, for supporting the channel. We got a lot more coming, guys, so don't leave. K2 for you says, I'm 65 and I watch Asmongold every day. He's great as he hears so many young people. Charlie Kirkwood Gamer, I love that, man. Mr. JG says, I need to have kids. Everybody should have kids. Are you kidding me? Kids are the greatest thing in the world. It is the greatest thing in the world is having kids. And I get to say that I have 6. I did my part, folks. I did my part. I don't think they're automatically getting an election, but that would be an interesting way to litigate it. Let's see here. K2 for you with the $20 super chat. Thank you, K2 for you. I appreciate you so much. Says, what I also think people are missing in all this is no one in the past has given billionaires the ability to direct their fortunes directly in a way they can't be grifted by NGOs or other middlemen. Oh, that's an excellent point, K2 for you. Thank you for making that point. I actually completely agree with that. And it's going to be fascinating to see what people do moving forward in the new Trump economy and environment. So thank you for your super chat, friend. I appreciate the support. And Bill for Christ with the $2 super chat says, I was psyoped for Alex Jones for many years. I get it. I was psyoped by Tucker Carlson. It happens to the best of us. It really does. I have a truckload. DJ says, Asman, you are the few white dudes I watch on. You do the few white dudes? That's hilarious. Thank you, Devin. I appreciate that, man. It has grown substantially. Ellen says, my best friend had 14 brothers and sisters. Their house was my favorite place to be. Their dad was a pediatrician. Yeah, that saved them a lot of money, right? That's hilarious. I love it. You guys are great. All right, as always, guys, please, if you got something for me, tag me. I will do my best to find it. And if I can't find it, I apologize. It's not on purpose. But if you want to support the channel, you can super chat. And I guarantee you I will read it and answer it if it's a question. Build Fire for Christ and Eagle. Carrie sent gold coins. Thank you guys for that. I appreciate it. Let's see. Jesse says, I'm 58 years old and I've been watching Asman longer than Asma go longer than Ace. You mean Asman? Asman's been around a lot longer than me. So, yeah, a lot of you guys are watching Asman Gold older. That's awesome. That's awesome. But you guys are awakened. A lot of people aren't watching him. He's mostly a younger audience, but that's great. That's great. He's got great stuff. Okay. Let's get going here. We got so much more to get into. So much more. All right, you guys ready? Let's talk about the midterms, because boy, talking about the midterms, about this rise of communism in the Democratic Party, it's getting very, very bad for the Democrats. And if it's bad for the Democrats, you know it's very, very bad for City of London. This is great stuff to look ahead to. On last Thursday, we got the crushing news to the Democratic Party that Gavin Newsom, their appointee, was wearing an FBI wiretap. This is going back to 2024, which means the Biden administration had so much on Newsom that they tapped his chief of staff working for him. This person's already been indicted for their own corruption tied to Newsom. And now we find out that the person who knows where the skeletons are buried, the bodies are buried, where the skeletons are in the closet, has recorded many private conversations with the most corrupt governor in the nation. Wow. Oh, and by the way, he's supposed to be their front runner for 2028. He's the only one out of the current field of candidates that has a chance at winning, because Newsom is awful, but he's also slimy and really good on camera. And that, my friends, could be enough to push him over. I don't think it would be. But if they have a snowball's chance in hell, it was going to be with Newsom. He's a lot scarier than Kamala, I'll tell you that. This is terrible for them. It looks like he's going down. And this is why Newsom is panicking. By the way, this is looking ahead to 28, but the things are looking bad and worse by the day for the Democrats here in 2026 as well. And this is only going to be part of it, because as this corruption probe continues into Newsom and we start learning more and more about Newsom, it's going to taint other Democrats. And you have that along with the major push towards communism that's starting to happen. Now, here's Jesse Waters breaking it down a little bit, as Mom Donnie gave a July 4th speech that was very hateful towards the American system. And this is coming out, as it says here, socialist sermon. But here's Jesse Waters breaking it down a little bit.
This speech did not live up to the hype. This guy built this thing up like this was the State of the Union on July 4th. And he bombed. I mean, this thing was so boring, so tedious. And then like you said, the lighting was dark.
Yep.
There was no color. You had immigrants standing around them like this, like
with a tiny little flag.
It's like, oh my God. You could have been so much better, because the guy's talented. He has a decent personality, but this thing did not deliver. I felt nothing.
Yep.
You know, at least when other politicians talk, I feel hate, I feel happiness, I felt empty inside. Maybe it's because he's so young and has literally done nothing before with his life that didn't feel like there was anything behind it. Kind of felt like he was the first Muslim mayor of New York reading a speech written for the first black president. He was trying to be Barack Obama. But Barack Obama, you know, he'd say that stuff.
The point is that Mamdani is their figurehead. And he gave this speech that was talking terrible about America, saying basically the only good thing about America is that we can correct our mistakes in the past, that we grow. It's very, very anti-America, the America we love. And this guy is their charismatic leader. But just like communists do, they take all the joy out of everything. And again, as Jesse said, no color, no charisma. They're taking it, the more they get in power, the bleaker it gets. And people are seeing this. They're not going to want this going forward. And one of the people, first of all, in New York this last weekend with the heat wave going on, Mamdani said you can't have your ACs below 78, which anybody who knows when it's a heat wave, 78 is not that cool. But they're turning off their escalators for energy conservation. New York is starting to get a taste of what communism looks like, and this is just in time for the midterms. We're getting there. They get more and more out about it. In Europe, it's spreading so much, they're starting to double down now on content creators on YouTube. Getting worse. GB Politics, Great Britain Politics, says a message from YouTube to its content creators is verified. He warns the UK government will force them to push legacy media outlets like BBC, ITV, and Channel 4 over independent commentators and journalists. And it says here in the wording that even if your algorithm tells YouTube that you prefer independent news, it's going to push you towards the mainstream news. This is a panic move. As they're getting more and more power, they're doubling down on control, and it's going to backfire on them. Here's the warnings. Do your part by keep your power on, setting your AC to 78 degrees, turn off lights, unplug electronics you're not using. Wait until early morning or late night to run appliances like dishwashers or laundry machines. Oh, but guess what? While all this is going on, Taylor Swift had her wedding at Madison Square Garden. Do you think they turn the AC up to 78 for Taylor Swift's wedding to Travis Kelce? I don't think so. But that's what the commies do. They consolidate power and they push their rich, beautiful people to the top, and they all get to party while the people suffer. This is just the beginning, and this is not going to go well for them. As Spencer Pratt says, the communist doesn't think to increase quality of the grid. The communist demands you decrease the quality of your life. They make you ration the things every American gets to enjoy every single time. It's true. And now we're seeing it come to the forefront. And this is why it's so bad for them come the midterms. Americans do not want communism. A very small group of Americans do. It's the college-educated rich kids who are spoiled brats who go out and vote in these primaries that nobody else votes in. 7% of New Yorkers in these districts voted in these commies. 7%. Mamdani got a little bit more of that. It was about 30% voted total. And he got the votes, the win out of that total. The vast majority of them don't support this, and they will rise up as it gets worse. But in the meantime, this is good for us as it keeps spreading. As Spencer Pratt just did a wonderful video breaking down communism. And Spencer, you know, you're not going to get him as mayor of LA, at least this cycle. But we did gain a very powerful voice for the real fight we're in. Here's a video Spencer Pratt just put out that is excellent.
We all had to sit and watch that vile commie mayor sit on the wrong side of our founding fathers' desk to try and lecture us about our own history. Notice how the communist always attacks your history. The communist must attack your history. Why? Because history is what anchors you. It's what makes us attached to something. Nostalgia is a hell of a drug. History breeds an almost irrational attachment to things, an attachment that is more powerful than anyone can imagine. Erasing history is how you demoralize people, how you unmoor them and detach them from their society so you can take it from them and rewrite it in your image. Think of your country like a home. What makes your home special? It's not the marble countertops or the expensive furniture or the fancy appliances. It's the memories you have there. That backyard is where we got married. That living room rug is where our son took his first step. Hey, don't touch that. That was his first teddy bear. It doesn't matter how torn and tattered that thing is. You will never get rid of it. And you will fight anyone who tries to take it away. Why? Because you have history with it. You ever buy a new home? Remember those first few months? Even the first few years there, it doesn't feel like home. It could be 1,000,000 times nicer than the crappy apartment you came from, but it doesn't feel like home for a long time because you don't have history there. It's easy to knock down some walls, change the floor plan. If you have no memories to attach you to it, it's just wood and drywall. Who cares? Get rid of it. Memories make it a home, even the bad ones. Hey, remember when Dad hit his head on the rafter in the attic and we spent all night in the ER? That's the avocado tree I fell out of and broke my first bone. Isn't it weird how even the bad memories make us cherish a place? It's not like we long for those bad times, but bad times are part of what makes us stronger, a part of what makes us who we are. How can you resent those memories without fundamentally resenting who you are? History is so important to humans that even bad memories anchor us to our home. And that's what the communist always starts with, the bad memories. Oh, we can get rid of that little story. We can knock down that statue. We can change the name of that street. That's a bad memory from our history. You don't want that memory hanging around. You're not a bigot, right? And slowly but surely, this wall comes down, then that wall gets sledgehammered. The rafter where Dad hit his head, that's gone. The rug where your son took his first step, that's gone. The gash in the wood floor where you stomped the glass on your wedding ceremony, that's gone and replaced with shiny vinyl planks. And now you've got a brand new home with no memories. Now what? Do you care what they do with it? Do you care what color they paint the walls? Nah. Do whatever you want. I don't care. I have no attachment to it. I have no memories with that. You love your home because of the memories you have there. And that's why the communist always must destroy your memories, destroy your history. If the communist wishes to take your home, he must first destroy your memory of it so he can erase your attachment to it and demoralize you. Mao destroyed what he called the four olds: old ideas, old culture, old customs, and old habits. If you call them olds, it makes them sound bad. You don't want that old thing. Get rid of it. But it is fundamentally human nature to cherish your history. We crave learning about our history, where we came from, who our ancestors were. That's human. But communism is an evil, anti-human religion, so it must destroy what makes us human. The communist destroys your history so he can take your home and rebuild it in his image. That's why it's your patriotic duty to celebrate today unashamed. It's okay to love America. Not only is it okay to love America, it's necessary to love America. We are the only bulwark against tyranny on this earth. When Europe descends into madness time and time again, it's our sons who cross the oceans to fight and die for freedom and human dignity. We don't let evil people destroy our history and rewrite it in their image. This is Independence Day. It's not just a number on the calendar. Don't say Happy 4th. That's commie gobbledygook.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
We say Independence Day. Today we celebrate the men who reclaimed a beautiful slice of this earth and claimed it for God, for the values of freedom and rugged independence. Our history is messy. Our history is violent. Fuck yeah, it is. And that's why we love it. We aren't cowards. We don't turn our backs on the painful memories because they make us who we are. Be proud of our country, damn it. America is the birthplace of every great invention of the last 250 years. Like literally everything. Airplanes, spaceships, internet, telephones. As a country, we are batting 1,000. Not only is it a miracle that this radical experiment in self-governance even survived past 1776, but we are the champions of the world. Be proud of that. Be proud of your history. Millions of your ancestors fought and died to preserve it. Kami Mamdani's ancestors never bled for this country. He has no history here, so he has no attachment to our home. He has no place to rewrite our history and lecture us about what our country stands for. So celebrate today. Show some American pride. Honor your history. Raise your flag. Raise a finger and say, fuck you, communists. This is our home, and you can't have it. Today we celebrate our Independence Day. God bless America.
Boom. Man, that's fire right there. That is fire. F communism. I love it. You understand, though, like what we're watching. This is very similar. This move being made now by Trump, Pratt, all this, like this as this gets in our our lexicon again. The fighting America stuff, okay? Sorry, not fighting America, fighting communist stuff. As this gets back into our lexicon, all right? I love when he has Rocky hitting the Russian down. You know, you guys do know that Rocky single-handedly ended the Cold War, right? With his speech after knocking down the Russian. It's a historical fact. But the point I want to get to is that by all this entering our lexicon, okay, becoming normal again, becoming a part of the conversation again, it's very powerful and it's very important, because as this becomes our rallying cry, anti-communist, okay, America is the nation, like this spreads, this rises patriotism in you. There'll be people who fight it. There'll be people who like, oh, I can't, like, I don't want to be associated with Trump, but they cannot ignore the fire in their belly that rises when they hear something like this from Pratt. And the more, see, what they screwed up, you understand, before we had Republicans versus Democrats. I'm talking about to the normal people. I'm not talking about to me and you, those people who deep dive this stuff. To the average middle of the road person who is like not paying much attention, it has been Republicans versus Democrats or conservatives versus liberals, but it's still American. And so they can actually try to, a lot of people want to be peaceful. They want to hear both sides of the equation. They want to be like, yeah, but I don't want to hate them. I don't want to, think of them as an enemy. We just have disagreements. And that's fine. They don't see what the real enemy is. But now it's not. This election, 2028, it's no longer, because the commies took over the Republic or the Democratic Party. Now it's America versus communists. Do you understand how much more powerful that narrative is? When you can show the average person who's trying to be nice and get along that the other side is embracing communism, that changes the game. That's why Pratt and Trump are knocking on the door of this and hammering it home and saying, it's communist, it's communist, it's communist. This is why it's such a powerful message hanging into the midterms and into 2028. And this is so bad for them. And obviously Trump, in his speeches over the weekend in South Dakota and July 4th, he's hammering this home as well.
In history, by the best people like you. You can be loyal to Karl Marx, or you can be loyal to America. You can be a communist or you can be a patriot. You cannot be both. As for those who peddle Marxist lies about our heritage, or tell our children that we live on stolen land or that our heroes were oppressors, they're doing something much worse than slandering our past. They are slandering and attacking our future. Not going to let that happen. They're trying to tear down the great American character, to destroy the people who declared independence.
He's absolutely right. You got to keep hammering it. You keep hammering this home. This is huge for the midterms. It's huge. I don't think people have quite understood yet how bad this is right now for the Democrats, that the commies are starting to take over and win these elections. Because as long as this keeps going on, we keep getting more information and stories out about how bad things were under them as well. This story just came out yesterday. Biden's illegal immigration surge triggered 30% rise in home prices, 20% in rents. This came out from the Fed. You think we can hammer that message home? See, people are waking up, and even media is starting to find more to report on about how horrible this stuff is. So as the commies are taking over the Democrats outwardly, not hiding it anymore, we're getting the response back. We're getting more information about how, the AC control in New York, stopping the escalators. This is waking up. This is becoming national news. Mamdani doing his stupid speech. We get this kind of news. Meanwhile, while all that's going on, the pro-America party, the Trump party, is going to be bringing us prosperity. And we're starting to see it already happen. Oil's in transit just for sanctions, undoubtedly a new record high. Record high of global crude oil available. You know what that means? Prices are about to plummet. Crude oil on the market, almost 1.5 billion barrels. We've fully recovered and then some from Iran. Incredible stuff. The Saudis have just announced they're going to lower the price of Arab Light next month by $11 a barrel. According to the price list seen by Bloomberg, larger decline than $8 drop expected in a survey. Oil's about to get much cheaper. Now you have grifters out here like Mario Nafal and Chris Martinson saying that the numbers don't add up. They don't add up. It's just going to end up being more expensive. This is what we've been hearing, all this insanity. But meanwhile, as Luongo says, I guess the Saudis are in that group of people who don't know how to add or are beholden to the U.S. government. How about oil flows have been rerouted, supply tightness is loosening, and the post-war equilibrium price will reflect slightly higher transport costs. Also from the article, OPEC has agreed to new output hikes. Oil's about to plummet. It's about to plummet. People start seeing that more and more. And while that's happening, Speaker Johnson has come up with a new plan to get the Save America Act through, which could actually work.
Legislation. I just decided it was best to send everybody home to go celebrate July 4th in their districts. We'll come back, gather everybody together. The big urgency is to get Save America passed. The president has that as a top priority, and so do I. We passed it 3 times in the House. We're going to try one more time on a budget reconciliation bill, and I think that will be the way to get it through the Senate and finally to the president's desk. So that's forthcoming.
So they're going to try budget reconciliation or get it into NDAA, which is the Defense Act.
We've got 2 or 3 different ideas on how to make the Save America measures fit into the budget reconciliation process. As the name implies, it's got to be reconciling the budget. It's got to be tied to fiscal issues. And one of the ways to do it is to create a grant program to incentivize states to enact election integrity measures. There are other ways as well. We're discussing all those. That is going to be a big component of what we send to the Senate.
Yeah, well, that's it. Spot on. Thank you for all that. So anyway, it's...
We've got 2 or 3...
NDAA. So what does that mean? Well, if you put it in the NDAA, the Senate could ignore Save America as a standalone bill, but it can't ignore the defense package. So they face a clean choice. Keep proof of citizenship and voter identification in the bill or strip election security out of national security legislation in public view. It's a trap. SCOTUS pushed the issue back to Congress. The House is now connecting citizenship to identity to registration, registration to a lawful ballot. Senate can still remove it, but removal is evidence. Every senator who cuts Save America from NDAA must explain why military systems require identity, verification, and secure access, while system-choosing government does not. They wanted Save America buried in committee. Johnson placed it in the bill they can't afford to kill. Keep it and moves towards law. Strip and expose those who stood in the way. Add in individual pressure Trump's putting on Congress. Checkmate. Well, we'll see if it's a checkmate. We will see that. I don't know. We're going to find out, but I will tell you that it's pretty genius how they keep trying different angles to get Save America through. And I'm telling you guys right now, if Save America gets through, the Democrats aren't going to win another election for 20 years. They just won't. It's over. They have one game in town now. They've lost so many people. The communist thing's scaring even more people away. They're really in a bad place. They have one shot to get the House because right now people are pissed off that their checking accounts aren't where they want them to be yet. They thought Trump was going to create a miracle in less than a year. He hasn't been able to do that yet because he's doing something much bigger. So they're going to play off that for one election cycle. That's all they're going to get with it. And then they're going to rig. And you put those two things together and maybe they could squeak out the House. Maybe. I don't think they're going to be able to, but maybe. But if you fix the rigging, it won't. It's completely done. They're so screwed. And in 2028, it's going to be that much worse because Newsom, he might not even be able to run at this point. He's their golden child. So you're telling me Kamala Harris is going to beat J.D. Vance, Rubio, or DeSantis? What crack are you smoking? There's just no way. So if we get that through, I mean, meanwhile, the polls are all trending back in the direction of MAGA. GOP's odds in Alaska Senate have now surged to 83%. This was supposed to be a close race. It surged over 80% in Texas. Seth Keshel writes, Dems also shooting their best shot in the Senate, which all but assures GOP hold of the lone House seat in Alaska. The more House seats that become holds, the worse it is for them. McLaughlin, one of the best pollsters around, has Republicans gaining among Hispanics 48 to 43%. How can they win an election if they lose Hispanics? Again, as Keshel writes, if this is even remotely corrected, even if Dems actually win them 55-45, it's doomed for Democrat coalition. They can't win in Texas like that or anywhere with booming Latino populations. This is the big swing vote right now, is the Hispanics. Black voters are still 80, 90% Dem. You're not going to switch them. White people still 60, 70% Republican. But the Hispanics have gone from being 20% Democratic to being basically 50-50. And that is how Trump won so overwhelmingly in 24. And it's going to be worse for them going forward, especially if they can't hold. You see, they flipped. This was last month. This was 47 to 41. And I'll tell you guys all the time, polls by themselves lie, but trends do not. The trend is the Republicans are gaining ground again. And the latest, this is an excellent site. They called the 2000 election or 24 election excellently. It says, as of right now, they have the GOP getting the House. Republicans projected to win 218 seats. We conducted 100,000 simulations for every race. And on average, the GOP wins a narrow majority. Republicans are no doubt regaining momentum with midterms just 4 months away. So again, it's only getting, this is, as of right now, all these polls coming out, we're still dealing with the hangover of Iran and high oil prices. We have not fully seen the effects of the fear spreading about all these communists coming in, the anti-American rhetoric spreading and pushing people off of the commies and the Democrats. We haven't even, none of that's set in yet. Oil prices are still going down. Iran is staying in peaceful. The further away we get from that, the more people are going to see it as a win, especially as gas keeps going down. You have the commies going. July 4th, people loved it. I showed you guys earlier the pictures, even in Los Angeles, of all the fireworks going off despite the ban from the city. People are feeling patriotic right now. We still are going forward in the World Cup. Trump just got the guy who is red flagged back instated. So we have our full team tonight for the World Cup game. That is massive. Patriotism is spreading. And we've already regained the edge in the House. Are you kidding me? Looking ahead, there is almost nothing the Democrats can do to get the momentum back unless something catastrophic happens to the Trump administration, which at this point, guys, I don't see that happening. This, I believe, is only going to gain. And as of right now, I think 70% chance we win the House. And it's a 90% chance we keep the Senate, maybe even 95%. This midterms, if they lose this midterms, it is going to send shockwaves to the Democratic Party, and they are going to crash out just as hard, if not as 2024, if not harder. Obviously, this is very close. So everybody go and vote. We have to vote. It's the only way we win is we vote. But if we do vote, if we show up, we can't lose at this point. I believe that 100%. So no dooming, folks. Things are getting better every day right now for where we want to head in this country. And that should be a big white pill for all of you to swallow. Okay, hit that like and subscribe, guys. Next, we got the Grifta Report, and I got a really good one today. Candace Owens is at the end. I'm telling you, folks, the takedown on Candace is happening, and it's glorious. We're going to cover that in just a minute here. But first, let me get in. Ministry of Wrong Thing with a $5 super chat says, I thought Johnson was deep state. That was another propaganda op. Johnson hasn't even gotten credit because we forgot. Listen, this is my take on Mike Johnson. I think Mike Johnson, they called him MAGA Mike in the old days, before he became speaker. He was a reliable Trump vote. He became speaker, and he pissed a lot of people off because he made a couple, compromises with the Biden administration. Really pissed people off. And then since then, he has been an amazing speaker for MAGA, getting everything Trump wanted pushed through the House, despite having a minuscule majority. He's been amazing. And he gets no credit for it. What I think happened is I think he wasn't ready to be speaker. He's not as old as some of these other guys. He hasn't been around as long. I don't think he was ready, but they couldn't agree on a speaker, so they all threw him in. I think he was overwhelmed by it at first, and the deep state, whoever, took advantage of him. But when Trump got in, I believe Trump pulled him aside and said, "Listen, we are, I'm going to be on your side, but I need you on my side. I will support you. You get my back." And ever since then, he has been crazy reliable for MAGA, and he has created miracles on some of the votes he's gotten through the House. So Mike Johnson's turned out to be excellent. Anybody who's still hating on him is just not paying attention. I'm just telling you haven't paid attention. Will he go backwards if, say, we got a Democratic president? I can't tell you, but I can say as of right now, he's been excellent. So, thank you, Mark R. Appreciate you, man. Let's see. Deuterino says, my prediction is USA beats England in the World Cup final. We declare City of London defeated. How epic would that be? That is the only way we play England, is if it's in the final. That would be the craziest game ever. If America won the World Cup, it's over. Just mark it 8, dude, for the rest of our lives. That would be the greatest sign ever that we just can't lose, because we are not supposed to win that. DJ says, Spencer Pratt may be the wild card we need for 28. Pratt for president. There's no way in hell he becomes president. I'm sorry. He doesn't have the money. He doesn't have the infrastructure. Pratt's great, and he'll be a long-time part of our party. And maybe in 10 years, 15 years, he'd be ready for president. He's got to win a local office first. He's not Trump. You got to remember, Trump had decades of name recognition. He was a billionaire. He's got money. Spencer Pratt's living in a trailer park. There's no way he could become president. I'm sorry. Trump was able to beat the money discrepancy against him because of his media attention, because of having a show, knowing how to work the tabloids. Pratt doesn't have any of that yet. It's just, there's no way he could win in 28. You went below that 78, didn't you? Dan lost power. Sorry, brother. Let's see. Ellen says, I wish Candace hadn't lost her mind. There's so much she's right on, but not the way she thinks she is. I could have made that argument at one point, but I don't think I can anymore. I just can't. I can't support her in any way, shape, or form anymore. No, he needs a lot more than that, Cowboy. Listen, guys, you don't understand. And I'm going to tell you as a student of history and politics of our American system, what Trump thing was so miraculous. He's the only, and I mean the only, president in our history who was not military first or a politician first. And it took everything being a perfect storm for him. A tabloid darling, number one show on TV for many years, and billionaire. It took all of that to overcome how you become president in our system. It is so difficult. I think people underestimate how difficult it is and what you need to become president in our nation. It's hard to describe, but I'm sorry, but there's a lot of wishful thinking all the time on who could become president, and it's just people just do not understand what it takes. It takes years of building up coalition, you name it. Every single person who's become president had much more than just one rich backer or something behind them. You have to understand how the system works. Spencer Pratt's amazing. He's not Trump. He needs seasoning. He needs time. He's young. Trump knew all these people. He knew how to work them. That's something Pratt doesn't know yet. And so there's just no way Pratt could win. I'm sorry. There's no way Tucker Carlson could win. There's no way there's no way Joe Kent could win. Massey, any of these people, there's just no way in hell they could win. So I'm just saying. Candace's vaccine series was good. That was before she went crazy. Yeah, back in the day, she was good. Thank you, Katie, for the donation. And yeah, you're right, Katie. She was good on vaccines. She was back in the COVID days. Listen, not everything Candace has ever done is bad. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I can't support her as a person anymore because she went, where she knew the money would be. She would come out, she'd say something controversial, but she'd also knew it was going to have support for her. And you can trace this back her entire career. So Cowboy says miracles can happen. They can, but not always in the way you think. It's not like God snaps his finger and everybody votes for Pratt. That's just not how it works. I'm sorry. We did get a miracle. We got Trump. And now what Trump has done is built us a bench. And now we have a great bench. We have Vance, we have Rubio, we got DeSantis, we got, I'm sure there's a couple others I could think of, but Pratt's not on the bench yet. I'm sorry, he's just not. And it's going to take, you guys don't understand, like the 2028 election's already started. It just, it depends on like how you're paying attention. But it's already started. It just, and Pratt's nowhere near it. So yeah, could God snap his fingers and make something happen if he wanted to? Of course, but that's not, God doesn't usually work that way either. I'm sorry. It's just, God's a God of process. He is reaping and sowing. And then he'll throw in an occasional miracle within that. But, I'm just telling you, it's just not how it works. I'm sure they have proof Pratt won. I would vote for Californians as presidents. You got to understand, red Californians, because of where they live, they're very red. They're very red. Till cheating's fixed, we're not voting. Well, Devin, that's a terrible, terrible perspective to have. Are you kidding me? Trump just proved you can overwhelm the system and still win when it's rigged. He proved it in 24, too big to rig. You can, they cannot, okay, so let me put it this way. The elections are rigged, but they're not fixed. And what I mean by that is they can, even though they're rigged in the favor, they can still be beaten because there's still enough stuff in process, in the processes where if they're overwhelmed, they can be beaten. So if you have the mentality that if it's not perfect, I'm not showing up, you're going to lose every time. And you're going to lose forever. Because if you have that mentality, it's just not like we would never have gone Trump if everybody believed the way you did. So I'm sorry. I think, Devin, I'm sure you mean well, but that's a loser mentality. I'm very sorry you feel that way. You should always show up regardless. Don't let them control who you are and what you do. Don't let them determine how you exercise your rights. Okay. Ellen says they went out in 2020, 24. The reason we didn't get 2020 is because it was unexpected. 24 we knew. I think that's part of it. And Ellen, the other part is because of COVID, they were able to break rules they never were able to break in 24. And 24 woke us up enough where we made some of those rules, especially in swing states and red states. We made it impossible to do. Okay. Let's move on, shall we? Grifter report time. We have a lot to talk about, my friends, because Candace Owens is reaching the end. Today, the Tyler Robinson trial begins. It's happening right now as I speak on my live show. Not for those watching this clip later, but it is going on. And Candace, knowing that this is going to go very poorly for her and her predictions and how she has interpreted the whole Tyler Robinson thing, She knows it's going to go poorly for her because Robinson, the evidence is overwhelming that he did it. You can agree, disagree on who else was a part of it, whether he had help, how he did it, all that. Some of that's in the air for sure. But whether or not he did it, it's pretty overwhelming, the evidence, and it's going to come out in this trial. And Candace immediately puts out, today the Tyler Robinson show trial begins. She's very mad that this is going to make her look terrible. Evidence like text message confessions will be allowed in the courtroom. Why shouldn't it be? Why shouldn't it be, Candace? Oh, because Tyler's defense had not been allowed to vet those messages to determine if they were doctored or who sent them? Okay, I guess. Fine. That sounds like pretty weak sauce. Do you think that they, that's not very easy to prove unless you have access to whole system network of all this stuff? But okay. Fine. We've had nobody come forward with, despite the fact there's dozens, if not thousands of investigators independently looking into this stuff nationwide. Nobody's found any evidence that these text messages were doctored. I know I've been following this since last year, but okay, fine. Let's be mad they're allowed. Remember, FBI and ATF was not forced to turn over key evidence. How are they not forced to turn over key evidence? Candace, do you have evidence of that? It's by multiple discovery requests because the judge ruled it's not necessary at this stage. Okay. This sounds like a lot of excuses. Key witness testimony from Lance Twiggs will be played, but Lance Twiggs is not allowed to be cross-examined because the judge's rule is not necessary. Okay. Today's about emotion, what you can expect aside from Erica's tears. She's got to throw in the jab at Erica because she's an evil witch who just loves watching people suffer. Are in orbit of her payrolled influencers trying to convince you unvetted evidence is overwhelming and undeniable. It's a show. Okay. Now, first of all, I don't trust any of her stuff here because there's no reason to. And let's talk about this. Why? Oh, because Data Republican now is on the case. Data Republican, for those who follow her, this woman always brings receipts. This woman's amazing. She has uncovered so many things, frauds, NGOs, broken it down. She shows stuff people do not want you to see. She makes connections people don't want you to see. This woman, who is deaf and autistic, is incredible on the computer and how she puts together information and how she finds that information. Well, she's now got Candace in her sights, and this is very, very bad news for Candace Owens. Says Candace Owens on Erica Kirk in her own words. Candace yesterday pre-spun a report she hadn't read, calling it Zionist. Report is Candace's own show. Doesn't accuse her of anything. Her own footage does that. Before the investigation, Candace spent 40 episodes defending Erica Kirk. She called her genuinely a nice person. Swore that nobody outside my husband and Erica Kirk had the power to shut her up. She told her audience she would stop if Erica asked. Erica asked, Candace didn't stop. No new evidence appeared between the praise and the accusations, just a new business need. And this business need may very well end up in tragedy. Here's Candace and her audience in her own words. Uh-oh, here come the receipts.
Wedding, and then came the children. You know, Charlie really loved Erica from the time reading through the text today. Just loved her. He loved his family. He really did. And I came there, and she was just lovely. She was genuinely such a nice person. And I was like, Charlie, just go for it. Just go for it.
Just
I
go
know
for
that
it.
Charlie was very happy with
Love
Erica. And I know that Erica
so
was she really is just the moment. The speech that she gave, everybody was just, I think it was the most consequential speech in American history. A message that everyone needed to hear, including myself, a message of complete sadness. We were grieving with her. Was when his wife, Mrs. Erica Kirk, addressed not just the nation, but the entire world. Around the world, obviously, have been moved by Erica's commitment to her Christian faith. The strength, obviously, that it takes for her.
Erica sounds awesome.
You could see the energy. She's going to fight. She's going to fight, and she is going to fight on the good side because every woman would know what her husband's going through. So I can't even imagine.
Wow.
So are we. I love that you show Erica love and support. I do wish there was some sign that we could.
Pretty crazy, huh?
The first thing that I think I should make abundantly clear is I am relieved that Erica Kirk is at the head of Turning Point USA.
Wow.
Because just like I alluded to last week, and which I will double down. So
Interesting.
Out of a loyalty to Erica, he also doesn't want to give more, make sure that I secured the footage so that Erica would not have to see it again. Like, but also the nastiness towards Catholics just needs to stop, point blank. I mean, Erica Kirk are just unfair criticisms of people that are.
So pretty clear. Candace loved her some Erica Kirk before she so abruptly turned on her. That's pretty crazy. Well, Data Republican didn't stop there. Candace built 4 mutually exclusive theories about who killed Charlie. Each version contradicts the last without a single named source. Huh. I just don't understand how people still follow
Fox
this
tells
chick.
us that is when the shooter, Tyler Robinson, arrived at UVU campus in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, and a black hat with a white logo. So essentially, he's saying that that person we saw walking down the street right there arrived on campus at 8:29. I'm going to allow you hear Governor Cox say that himself because it gives us a timeline. He says to him, I assume right away, Lance says, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" And Robinson says, "I am. I'm sorry." And the roommate says, "I thought they caught the person." Okay. And Robinson responds, "No, they grabbed someone." The fact that there wasn't an exit wound is probably another miracle, and I want people to know. I just spoke with the surgeon who worked on Charlie in the hospital. He said the bullet, quote, absolutely should have gone through, which is very, very normal for a high-powered, high-velocity round. I've seen wounds from this caliber many times, and they always just go through everything. This would have taken a moose or 2 down, an elk, etc., end quote. And then, now this is Andrew. But it didn't go through. Charlie.
She goes through them all. So I just wanted to show you guys the beginning of the clip. So we got this. We got the definitely not 30-06 2 shooters, the Petton explosive, oil industry supply chain. You guys can watch all these clips. They're a little long, but 4 theories, 0 retractions, 0 named sources. Here's for the 30-06. Closest thing Candace offered to actual receipts is declaring 30-06 could not have possibly killed Kirk and left no exit wound. One that's easily debunked by searching for counterexamples. I get this often on my channel. Bro, you're retarded if you think a 30-06 could have gone stop by that. Except for the fact we've seen it many, many times. Except for the fact that I've covered how actually artillery makers, people who make this stuff, the experts of all experts have said it's unlikely, but it does happen. It is possible. You can never determine what a bullet's going to do. You get this all over the place. Retained bullet in spinal canal, vertebral artery transaction. You can find it in many stories. Look it up. Look it up. Sometimes a 30-06 does get stopped. Sorry, it's just the facts. I'm not saying it's normal, but you can't say Charlie definitely is a conspiracy because of 30-06. You can't say that because there's plenty of evidence. There's plenty of evidence that shows you the opposite. They've had melons that have stopped 30-06s. I'm not saying they understand why, but it happens. But it happens. And so it's just not evidence, folks. It's interesting. Or I should say it is evidence. It's not proof. And so, sorry, you can't use that for me. And honestly, if you keep using that for me, for anybody else, if that's your only thread of evidence, then you're going to look pretty stupid as somebody just goes and types into Google and proves you wrong to your face. So, sorry, Candace fans. I noticed all the Candace fans dumped off as I started playing this because viewers dumped out. And I get a lot of Candace fans on this channel. They don't like when I prove her wrong. They don't like it. They want to believe something that's just not there. Report keeps going on. Report maps Candace's words as permission structure for something much more ugly. Dehumanizing Erica. This is stage 1. Grieving wife. The pageant girl. I'm not going to go through all these guys because we don't want to watch it. We've been following it for so long. But you guys go to her thread. I mean, she's got all the receipts. Stripper grief, Operation Warp Widow. How's our emotional asset doing today? Mock the widow's scripture, then infamous. That's not a real person. This is the kind of thing she says with all the video receipts. See, that's the problem. You understand when you do a show over and over again, when you do hundreds of hours of content, you're going to keep getting caught in your lies. And Candace has plenty of them, and people are finally putting it together. Stage 3, make the harm feel deserved. Compare Erica to Corey Richins, a Utah woman convicted of poisoning her husband. Diagnose her with psychopathy on camera. Implies she needs to be jailed. Stage 4, violence becomes conceivable. Candace denies she's accused Erica of murder, but her audience got that message. Oh yeah, they did. They tried to kill Erica. What's mostly alarming of all, her audience started writing the ending. Predict her death, pre-written alibis. If something happens to Erica, it reads as confirmation of conspiracy, not tragedy. This is crazy. Pretty gross stuff. Really brings out the worst in people, doesn't it? Pretty gross stuff. And so, but the Candace is out there. This is a Zionist conspiracy. By the way, Candace, if Charlie was killed by Israel, if they were such a threat to, if he was such a threat to Israel, even though he was pretty supportive of Israel for the most part, wouldn't you be on that hit list as well? You know, I just don't know what to think here. Pretty crazy, but you know, I don't know what to tell you. All this is here, though. The receipts are building up. Candace has done it to herself by continually doing this for months and months and months. And now we got data out there. I'm telling you, once you get on this woman's radar, it's not going to end for you well for much longer. You don't have much longer, I should say, before it ends poorly for you. This is going to fall apart. And the Candace grift is no longer small channels like mine calling out Candace. It's gotten so bad that they're all stepping up. And she's getting reamed on X right now. I mean, here's her in a fight that's going on this weekend with Andrew Colvett, where he just got the receipts for her. Don't blame me for the fact you've told so many lies for so long you can't keep track of them all. She's been going around saying, I didn't say 150 million on anything, but unfortunately people got the receipts. Never once said it was 150 million, but it's right here. As a follow-up, do you know about the alleged $150 million Bibi offered? Receipts, man, they come and catch you. They do. It's sorry, Candace, you can't do this. And guess what? It's going on right now. Well, before Charlie's body was even cold, the grifters Hinkle, like Jackson Hinkle, accused Israel of being involved in Kirk's death. Ian Carroll, we all know him, he got out there calling him out. And then Max Blumenthal ran the line Gray Zone article that Bibi offered Charlie money. This is the report that Candace was running with early on. But guess what? They're both attending Khamenei's funeral in Iran. Oh, and Blumenthal works for, or that's who Joe Kent's working for now? Wow, that's interesting. That's interesting. You know, I don't believe in guilt by association by itself unless the factors and the actions tell us that there's probably some there. I gotta say, going to Khamenei's funeral in Iran? Kind of wakes you up a little bit, doesn't it? Iran, the proxy city of London, the Khamenei's real estate empire in UK. Interesting stuff. Hinkle and Blumenthal running the same narrative as Candace, Tucker, Megyn Kelly, Alex Jones, Joe Kent. It's the Jews. It's always the Jews. Yeah. Interesting stuff, isn't it? Why would you go to Iran for Khamenei's funeral? unless The other thing that's happening that's very bad for the grifters right now is Andrew Wilson is now on the case as well. Andrew Wilson, huge following. Not as big as Candace, of course. He's got 187 on here, but his viewers on YouTube are in the millions. People watch this guy debate. He's very popular, very well known in right-wing circles and in left-wing circles because he tears them apart. His debates have become very, very popular. The dude is brilliant. He's brilliant. I don't like everything he says. I don't like how he frames everything. And I don't like how he, like me, is a Christian who I love his Christian stuff, but he cusses like a sailor. That part I don't always find to be the most helpful, but he's now taking these people down. And as Candace just responded to Andrew, this clip doesn't prove your point. Do you remember what you're attempting to argue? Claimed I said you told me it's a $150 million offer from Bibi. I never said that. She's moving the goalposts. Whereas we just showed you the 150 claim. Whereas Andrew Wilson comes out and says, what a lame and flaccid response. Why can't this doofus ever show evidence of her claims? It's true. Boggles the mind. Trust me, bro. It happened, bro. That's exactly all Candace has. But he's not stopping at Candace. You see, all these guys are very mad that Andrew Wilson is coming after him. Ian Carroll, Stu Peters, the whole network of the Candace grifter tards. They're all very upset about this because they're scared. They're worried. Ian Carroll wrote out, this is why I've never taken Andrew Wilson seriously. He's not actually here for the truth or what's right or even for open debate, right? That's such a ridiculous thing to say. The grown man, his day job is whatever podcast speaks for itself. No more complex analysis needed. Really? Okay. This is a grifter playbook. You character assassinate instead of bringing evidence. And that's exactly what they're doing. But Andrew says here, I enjoy watching the fear. People are frauds. They're so bad, they're actually terrified to have conversations about their point. All of them. Jake Shields, Stu Peters, Ian, Project Constitution, Baron Coleman. He's calling them all out. And by the way, Stu Peters was just offered $50,000 to debate Andrew Wilson, and he turned it down. Why? They just can't. They can't be in front of everybody being debated because it'll destroy them. But Andrew's not going to stop. As he says here, so Stu Peters putting in unnecessary complication to have a debate. People do this often in order to avoid a debate. Has to be in person, has to be here. That's exactly what Candace did to TPUSA when they were willing to debate her in front of everybody. But she ended up weaseling out of it. We could do it via video. So my counter, if he wants an in-person debate, I'll do it. Andrew's taking away all the excuses, but they're not going to show up. Stu Peters is one of the worst, man. He's one of the worst. But this is great news. Have Data Republican, Andrew Wilson, all these people going after the fraudsters now. I'm telling you guys, Candace Owens' time is going to dry up very quickly here. The time of being a legitimate, well, not legitimate, I'm sorry, that's the wrong word. Being a trusted voice by thousands of people, maybe hundreds of thousands of people still. It's disappearing fast. This is excellent. And I'm very excited to report it. And what would it be? What would a report on Candace be without showing Ami break down Candace and Sean Ryan from last week? Because the best way, there's two ways that are very effective in combating these people. Number one is counter their points. And that's what I do a lot here. Number two is something I also do, but I don't do it as well as Ami, but it's actually even better because it really pisses them off, is to mock them because they're so ridiculous. When you actually put it in the ridiculous setting it deserves, it wakes a lot of people up. Here's Ami with Sean Ryan and Candace.
I just knew that at a certain point we were being told lies. Yeah, we were being told lies. And I remember it was like the day after Charlie was killed, I was grieving. I was grieving. I was so sad. And I remember being told in the days after Charlie's death that Erica went to get groceries. Are you serious? She went to get groceries right away. Holy shit. I can't think about food when I'm grieving. Something doesn't add up. Why would you be hungry? Why would you do that?
I would think after your husband gets murdered, you wouldn't have much of an appetite at all.
Holy shit. And then what? That was just the beginning of it. And of course, I didn't say anything. I just went on vacation to Wyoming. Because it was hard. I was so sad, filled with grief. And one of the things I remember that Erica said that just stuck with me was that she kept talking about and discussing how she wanted to have Charlie's babies. Like she wanted to have another one of Charlie's babies, even after he had passed away. And to me, having one of his babies, that just sounded like trafficking. She said that.
I'm sorry. I'll pause it for a second here. This is exactly what it's like when the people come to me and say Erica's acting weird. Now, I have broken that down before as somebody who's grieved a lot, somebody who lost my parents prematurely in a tragic accident and lost my brother. I know what grief is, and I've never seen any issues with how Erica grieved. Nothing was weird about it to me as somebody who understands actual grief. But I got to tell you, like, this is what it sounds like. Erica got groceries. It's like, this is the insane stuff Candace is doing, and that's why it's so funny. This is why we mock them. This is why I do these videos, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you laugh at it, you go back and you watch her, and it's the same thing. You start laughing every time, and that's why this is fantastic. And this is how you take away their power.
It sounded like trafficking to me. And I just said, why would you say it like that? Why would you say that you wanted to have someone's baby? You wouldn't want to have somebody's baby unless you wanted to possess the child. Holy shit. It felt like trafficking to me. So that was the first red flag. And I said, something doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel right. Holy shit. And then the other thing that happened was, as I was watching the tape, I was watching the surveillance footage, they're saying Charlie got shot in the neck. And I'm like, why is no one doing the Heimlich maneuver? I mean, if there's something in your throat, if you think something's in your throat, you're obviously choking. Why is someone not doing the Heimlich maneuver? Why is someone not holding him and trying to get the bullet out? I mean, he got shot in the neck, so. And you would think afterwards, in the moment after he got shot, if he in fact got shot, if there was in fact a bullet that was in his throat, that he was obviously choking, and he would obviously try and do the Heimlich maneuver. I mean, I'm not saying it's not the same as choking. They didn't do that. And so I was very suspicious. You're making a point. Unless, of course, there was no bullet. Unless, of course, there was nothing in his neck. I don't even know what to make of it anymore. And, of course, if you look and dig deeper into the Heimlich maneuver, you find out that it was invented by a man named Henry Judah Heimlich. He's a Jewish person. Are you serious? Yep. Holy shit. Henry Judah Heimlich, you can look it up. He was a Jewish man who invented this maneuver, this technique that they chose not to employ on someone who was clearly choking on a bullet. Holy shit. And then, of course, fast forward a few days later at Charlie's funeral. You mean the funeral? Yeah, his funeral. Apparently Erica peeled away.
But you weren't there at the funeral.
Right.
Or Charlie's wedding or any of the funerals. Why not?
Because all of the events that they had, the Turning Point events and the wedding and the funeral, it took place in the afternoon. So they scheduled it intentionally during George's nap.
Are you serious?
Dead serious, yeah.
They scheduled the funeral during George's nap time?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
Scheduled during George's nap time. So obviously I couldn't go.
You weren't invited to the wedding or any of the memorial services. And a funeral is a memorial service. Why wouldn't you go to that?
Well, it doesn't actually mean memorial service at all.
It's not?
No, it means cattle.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Ooh.
Isn't that what they call us? Like, Goy, they say means nation, but it actually means cattle or something?
It's both, actually.
Right.
They claim it means nation, but if you scramble the letters in the word nation and you add an S to it, what do you get?
What do you get?
Angus. Angus beef. Why do you think Jews don't eat pork? They only eat cattle. That's their main source of protein. That's their main source of beef. So when they say goy, and that also means cattle, in addition to funeral meaning cattle, goy means cattle. And when they say cattle, they're implying that they're eating us.
Wow. Holy shit.
Ben Shapiro, I remember so many times at the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro kept asking, like, what are you doing for lunch? And I'm like, what do you mean by that? What are you trying to say? Ben Shapiro was trying to eat me.
This is literally blowing my mind right now. Like, my mind doesn't work right now. Look, the way I see it, I just think anyone who's exploiting somebody's death, someone's murder, someone who's brutally assassinated like that in public, Like anyone who's exploiting that for clicks, or to grow their audience, for clout.
Yeah.
I just want to
Just
see
like
people
John.
like that get absolutely destroyed. You know?
Totally, absolutely, totally.
You know, just eviscerated. Anyone who's exploiting somebody's death like that and making shit up all the time and exploiting their death, their brutal murder just for clicks and audience, to grow their audience, you know? Like those people who do that. Holy shit.
Oh my God. Whew, if you can't tell, that's the first time I watched the whole thing too. That part. How they get the Jews and do it all, the Heimlich to get the bullet out. That is just amazing. This is what we got to do though, guys. You know, I still, and I can't believe it, I still have people, why do you report this stuff? Why do you give them attention? Because when you give them this kind of attention, when you mock them and show how ridiculous what they say is, you defang them. This spreads. They become jokes. And that is the best way to fight them. Ignoring them is not the best way to fight them. You notice that the left doesn't ignore Trump. You know, they try their best, but the fact is the truth is not on their side, so it backfires on them. If I was trying to take down Tucker, Candace, and the truth was not on my side, you know, then, and I'm not trying to take them down. I'm not big enough to take them down, but I am exposing them as much as I can. And, you know, and it's not just them, but this is why we do it. We show them because it takes them out. So, you know, go follow him on X, follow Ami on X, and, you know, spread that, show your friends because it's incredible stuff. And speaking of grifters and exposing them, one of my favorites is back. She hasn't showed her head in a while. And Whitney Webb, though, you know, the creator of the J.D. Vance conspiracies, a total grifter who tries to act as a serious person in the crowd, who writes books that are 90% true and 10% speculation to make you completely doom and black pill and never have any hope. A person who never gives us any way out, who always makes it feel like it's impossible and every single person is wrong or bad. Well, she's back and she's got a new one. We've been quiet because Mark Goodwin and I have been working to write the most comprehensive investigation to Polymarket's origins. Okay. Comprehensive investigation. That sounds very serious. That sounds very something like you can't go after it, right? She's giving herself credibility right here. She found that Polymarket's official origin story, Shane Copland founded the company alone in 2020 and built the company in the bathroom, is a lie. Well, first of all, do I doubt that Polymarket, any of these companies, are built 100% by one person? That is a lie? No, of course not. It's very, very rare for that to happen. They have backers. They like to push that story, the rise to riches story, out of nowhere. But yeah, most of the time it's a lie, or at least incomplete. Well, that doesn't surprise us. But it says Polymarket started years ago as a company called Tokenbank that was deeply tied to Israeli interests. Oh my God, it's the Jews. It's always the Jews. It's always the Jews. Specifically, a crypto company founded by Netanyahu's niece and nephew. Copland's tried to obfuscate this company from his story, and it's not the only thing either. In part one of this two-part series, we unravel the real history of Polymarket, directly connecting the company to Peter Thiel. She's playing all the hits. It's always Peter Thiel. It's always Palantir. It's always the Jews. Always. Directly connecting to Peter Thiel's efforts to resurrect controversial DARPA programs from defunct Information Awareness Office. Polymarket appears to have been chosen by Thiel and his associates to succeed in resurrecting DARPA's policy analysis market where another Thiel-linked company, Augur, failed. Stay tuned for part 2 where we explore the current influence of prediction markets in Polymarket, including how an insidious effort to have prediction markets replace representative democracy as a governance model is slowly implemented by the White House. Okay, so her new assumption, and here's the deal. This is the Whitney Webb game. Okay, it's always technocracy. It's always the Jews and Palantir. But here's the game. Polymarket, massive betting wager prediction market. Way for people to make quick cash, get in and out. Polymarket and Kalshi. Okay. Is it likely that a tech company this big probably has some connection to somebody like Peter Thiel being in the tech world? Yeah, it probably is likely. And it's probably likely you could find some kind of connection to Elon Musk, Mark Andreessen, go on down the line. Because in this world, you can almost find, to the rich and powerful, you can almost find connections to anybody you want. So is she lying about that? Probably not. There probably is a real connection. But saying it's to resurrect controversial DARPA programs, well, good luck finding that evidence. First of all, even if that was true, what do you have, a smoking gun of him on tape saying this? Do you have a document? I guarantee you she does not. But she's going to create a whole infrastructure of, trust me, bro, this connects to this, to make you think that. And it's going to be very convoluted and look real as a result. Polymarket appears, and here's the key right here. Appears. In other words, she doesn't have any evidence. Appears means we're going to make a case. We're going to build something that looks very convoluted and complex to make you think it all adds up. But appears is not evidence. It's not proof. But here it appears they're trying to resurrect it. And then explore the current influence of prediction markets and Polymarket. The current influence. How on earth is Polymarket influencing the public? I don't see that at all. In fact, I've seen several times where Polymarket has been wrong because it's riding the wave of public sentiment. But I haven't seen any indication of where, and I follow this stuff closely, I haven't seen any indication where Polymarket has controlled anything because people decided we should do that, which is crazy how you jump from that to this insidious effort to have prediction markets replace representative democracy. Are you kidding me? Please explain that to me, how that's even possible. Now, I'm sure they're going to have some, well, Trump is working with these tech bros and this is directly tied to this. And Trump once said that he really likes prediction markets and how they impact the public. That's the kind of thing that this is going to be. I'm telling you right now. And how Trump is somehow trying to make Polymarket the new democracy. How the hell can anybody believe this stuff unless you already want to believe it? That's the truth. You see, as I've shown you guys on this show, the technocracy exists. It's World Economic Forum controlled, Davos controlled, City of London, and it's running the EU right now as we speak. It runs China as we speak. That's technocracy. That's where it's actually been implemented. We can see it. That system was trying to be brought here. And I got to tell you guys, it makes zero sense why, if Trump is such a technocrat, why he would be fighting and undoing the systems, this City of London system that's in America. And we have the overwhelming evidence that he is doing so. Think about how much we've pushed Europe out. How much our tariffs and policies have hurt Europe's economy, how they're collapsing right now as we speak. How China is now going backwards because of Trump's policies. Explain to me how any of that makes sense if this is what they actually want to do. Because they could have done it, because that's what Biden, Kamala, Obama were pushing for, Clinton were pushing for, and yet we're not doing that. So listen, but they just told us what the new PSYOP's going to be. Because now that Whitney Webb's put this out here, I guarantee you this is all going to be tied to J.D. Vance for 2028. This is the beginning of the move to take out Vance. I'm telling you that right now. And when Whitney Webb is the one perpetrating this nonsense, when it's come from her circle. And I'm going to get it a lot. I know it. We're going to get all these people. But ask yourself this. If somebody like this, who is just a total asset, total grifter, who so much of her stuff just doesn't add up, especially with the Epstein stuff, how she tried to tie Trump to it. We have too much information now. So when she's going after people like nonstop, like Peter Thiel and Vance, ask yourself why. Why is her psyop the one being picked up by so many people and being ran with? I don't know. Ask yourself that. And if you still are like, nope, still don't trust them, still don't trust Trump and what he's doing and what they're doing in our government, despite the fact that Trump knows so much more than you do, figure it out. Fine, don't trust them. But ask yourself who you are trusting. Do you want to be on Whitney Webb's side? Or do you want to be on the side of MAGA? I don't know. Do you think you're smarter than Trump? Do you think you're trusting, do you think you can trust Whitney Webb? I don't know. You got to ask yourself those questions. But psyops are continually getting worse and worse as Candace is learning and she's getting torn apart, as Tucker's learning as his stuff's getting torn apart. But Whitney Webb still has this sparkling reputation online. Do you think it's any coincidence that she is now releasing her comprehensive investigation into this insidious effort to replace democracy by Trump? Do you think it's any coincidence that she just released this 5 months before the midterms? I don't know. 4 months, I should say, before the midterms? I don't know. You guys can ask yourself what you think about that. But I think it's a little suspect. But who am I? All right, guys, hit that like and subscribe. And we will, I got one more little segment I want to do here before we move on. But let me get into the chat, catch up with you guys. Let's see here. A couple super chats came in. Out of here with a $5 super chat says, if you haven't heard of Red Seed Ventures, go to their site, look at who they fund as creators. Yes, out of here. I have. Megyn Kelly, Tucker, several others are on there, but I haven't gone in a while. I'd like to refresh my memory. So thank you for reminding me. Thank you out of here for supporting the channel. Doc No with a $2 super chat says, Whitney, say her name like Stewie Griffin. I don't watch Family Guy. I don't remember how he would have said it, but thank you for the super chat. Oh, good luck looking up stuff on Webb. They've covered her trail just like Ian Carroll. It's almost impossible to find stuff on them. XRP says JD Vance equals Yale. No, he does not. That is such a lie. I'm sorry, but this tells me you bought the lies. JD Vance did not go to Yale for his undergraduate program. He only went there for law school. Guess what? In Yale, only undergraduates do skull and bones and all that stuff. Graduates do not. Graduate schools do not. It's completely different than being an undergraduate. If you go to a graduate school, for the most part, you do stuff online, you maybe show up a little bit. You're not a part of the school like an undergraduate. So when people equate JD Vance to Yale, it's nonsense. He got into the graduate program after he graduated a smaller college. It's just not, that stuff is nonsense. The JD Yale connection is a big nothing burger. See, this is what I mean, though. People believe this nonsense spewed by Whitney Webb and stuff, and they do these connections that don't really mean anything. Stu Griffin, the W with a gay whistle. Whitney Webb? Something like that. Okay. Let me see, make sure I'm not missing anybody. Can't laugh. Everybody loved the Ami stuff, and as you should. The Ami clips are amazing. He is unbelievable on this stuff. So stinking good. Let's see. Yeah, even the Rumble folks really enjoyed that. It's good, great stuff. I love it. Let's see here. Punchcat says when their history scrub says everything you know. 100%, man. You can't find anything on Whitney Webb. You can't find anything on Ian Carroll. Except for, and like Ian Carroll is especially strange because he's 33 years old, 34 years old, came out of nowhere as a guy who all of a sudden has this big following. He's getting on Rogan, he's getting on Tucker Carlson. He, to be 34 and not have like 10 years, 15 years of social media presence, that's crazy. That's just not real. everybody gets on social media in their 20s now, if they weren't already on it in their teens. So yeah, it's just, you can't, like, when you don't have a history, it's insane. Ryan Dawson's Whitney Webb's baby daddy. Yeah, Dawson has tore her up. But I will say the other thing is Dawson, man, he has lost it too. I don't know what happened to Dawson, if he's been corrupted or if he's just so black-pilled. He's corrupted himself. But I used to listen to Dawson. He had some really good stuff. But man, he went off a cliff with Trump. And I think Dawson he's either controlled opposition as well, or he is, he's so black-pilled, he's lied himself into a corner. So I just, something happened to Dawson I don't love. Nick says, love to watch live. Too many distractions at the time slot always gets sorry, brother. I'm sorry, but I do appreciate you being there. Let's see. Bet someday Rubio will be POTUS. I think Rubio has a great shot at being it. Yeah. All right. Listen, almost, there's probably 3 law schools in the entire nation that aren't extremely liberal, cowboy. That doesn't mean you turn into a liberal. I went to a liberal school. I didn't turn out to be a liberal. So I just, these are the kind of things that is like, it's all guilt by association without evidence. And I reject that. DJ says, I predict the stranglehold of Democrats on the black community days are numbered. The black community and the socialists will clash come 28 primaries. I said this the other day, that black people do not like commies. They are, the Democrats have controlled them for a long time because of the setup that Lyndon B. Johnson put in place to basically lock them into poverty and get them reliant on the U.S. government. But they don't like commies, and so they go too far. They will ditch. All right, let's see. Yeah, well, see, and so Linda Goy says Ian Carroll was on TikTok outing bad foods. Yeah, and he did some Wall Street stuff. He did GameStop. But you know what he did? See, this is what they do. They build up trust with you on obvious stuff. So they do call out things, and they attract supporters who love that stuff, who are into conspiracies that turn out to be true, like our food being poisoned or Wall Street being manipulated. You go down those rabbit holes and you're like, yeah. Oh, this guy gets it. He does. So now he's built trust with you. Okay. Ian Carroll's built trust with you. Whitney Webb, she did some good Epstein work. She did some good Wall Street work. And so they build trust with you because now you're like, yeah, they get it. They know this stuff. Oh yeah, I see this. And then what they do is they just slip in little things to get you blackpilled, to get you dooming, to get you to not trust those who are doing a good job. See, a PSYOP doesn't work if it's just absolute nonsense from the beginning. No, it has to have a smidgen of truth to it to get you in. And that's what Whitney Webb did. That's what Ian Carroll does, stuff like that. So you got to, you got to recognize that that's how they do it. And then it all makes sense, how they build. Jayhawk says, as a man, a husband, father, God made you a spiritual leader of family. You cannot give up or doom about anything. Fight for your family. Always follow your example. Amen. Absolutely. Absolutely. The Hispanics are anti-commie, and that's why we're growing in popularity with Hispanics. They do not want to deal with that. So, all right, guys, I want to get in. I got one more segment I want to do here. And this one's going to be fun, and it's also going to piss off a lot of people once I push it, because I did a World Cup video once already, and I got a lot of liberals who are mad. Because here's the thing. Liberals tend to like soccer more than most other Americans. And those and the reason is because liberals believe that, Europe is superior to us. So if Europeans like soccer more, it must be better than football. It must be better than basketball. It must be better than baseball. So even though I have nothing against soccer, Sometimes I think it's boring to watch. I played soccer in high school. I do love the sport. I don't watch it very much, except for when it's World Cup. I'm cheering Team America, all that. But in general, it's a sport loved more by liberals and conservatives, and for all the reasons I cited. But Trump just saved our team, and that's going to really piss him off. So I want to talk about that. So in the last U.S. game, we were screwed over. A red card was issued to one of our top players because of this little interaction. Here he comes. Two guys going for it. Falls down. Boom. That clearly dual bump into incidental contact from two guys playing a sport, which I played soccer, I played basketball. Happens all the time. That contact earned him a red card, which means he wasn't going to be able to play in our next game. Now, right now, the U.S. is in the field of 16. It's the furthest we've been in a while, since 2002. And we have the best World Cup team we've maybe ever had. Odds of us winning it all are still very low, but we could continue to advance, shock the world. And yeah, baby, it's America time. We love it. This is great. But they're trying to rig it against us. That's what it appears to be. But then Trump came along and he got the guy out. Very interesting. But let's listen to what Trump had to say about all this.
You're asking me about the whole soccer thing? So, yeah, I did. I spoke to Johnny, who's highly respected, who's produced the most successful World Cup in history by, they say, 4 times. This isn't just a success. I actually said, Johnny, we've got all these games. Each one is turning out to be a Super Bowl. And we have all these games. You know, when you think of it, every game is like a Super Bowl. Yes, I watched last night. What a game that was with Mexico and England. I mean, 2 countries, I don't know the players, although I think Kane is a great player. See, I played golf with him, and I like him a lot. He's a good golfer, too. But he's really great. But I watched, and no reason for me to watch, and you couldn't take your eyes off the game. Because I said, Johnny, you know, you have all these games, because they added games, in a country where really we don't, it's not our main sport, to put it mildly. And this has been 4 times more successful. He told me last night the numbers are 4 times greater. They think 50 or 60 million people are going to be watching the game tonight. I mean, you know, this is getting to be Super Bowl numbers. But you have a game tonight, and they think they're projecting a minimum of 50 million people watching a game. We call it soccer. It's called football, I guess, but we can't really call it football because it gets there's a little confusion. So yeah, you call it soccer. We're the only ones that do that, but we have football.
Folks, it's soccer.
And football's great. But I've never seen anything like it. So I saw the play, and I'm a person that loves sports, and
This is going to piss liberals off so much because they care about this. They care a bit more, you know, liberals usually aren't huge sports fans. On general, I'm not saying all of them, but there are some that are. And they tend to trend towards soccer because they believe the rest of the world is superior to us, so why not? And then they tend to trend towards basketball, which is, you know, become very black-coded, and it's very much embraced the liberal identity. And so the fact that Trump is telling us that he basically just saved our team is going to drive them crazy, and they're going to hate this part.
Good athlete, and I understand sports really well, and that wasn't a foul. That wasn't even an infraction. That was 2 guys running full speed that happened to crash into each other. You can't take your foot and properly place it on somebody else's foot when you're going, no, these were 2 great athletes that got tangled up, and this referee, who is a little bit suspect, if you check his past. I don't want to say that because I don't like to create controversy, but very suspect.
You think so? Yeah, I think so. Of course they're suspect. This happens to the U.S. in the Olympics as well. Anytime we're in an international body of sports, we get treated unfairly. It's just the way it is. The rest of the world hates our excellence. It hates that we're better than them. It's just a fact. And not that we're the best team when it comes to soccer or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying in general, our country is just so far superior in every aspect. We do put out the best athletes. Our best athletes just don't play soccer. That kind of thing. But they hate it. They hate that we dominate the Olympics, all that. And this happens every year in every event. So of course they were going to try to find a way to screw us in the World Cup. But we have Trump.
If you'd like, I'll provide you with the past. He made a call that nobody could believe. You know, even people on the other side, they say, oh, we got lucky. Wow, and it's very interesting. They say they don't show them in slow motion. And I never realized that. I never heard of that before. That they're not allowed to review in slow motion because it's so different. Because you'll take one little quarter of a second and you'll see that a hand is touching a neck or you see something. Whereas when you see it in fast motion, it will look like two guys collided, which is really what happened. They got sort of entangled. He didn't do anything wrong, and he's our best player or one of our best players, a very vital player. And he gave him a red card. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't think it meant much. Then I started hearing that means he...
How funny is it that Trump is just... He probably never watched soccer before, just to be honest. And I got to say, this actually endears him to a lot of especially American men, because soccer is like the 5th most popular sport in America. It's football by a long shot. And then basketball is second, pretty far ahead. And then it goes baseball, hockey, soccer. That's the rankings. Soccer is trying to dethrone... it's making a play to dethrone baseball and hockey. It's not quite there yet. But the funny thing is him being honest about not knowing what that is, because a lot of Americans don't. This is the kind of thing we love about him. But yet, what we do love is America. And so in the World Cup, we're all rooting for it. Some of us are watching sports we never watched before because it's America. And if we win, it'd be huge for us. But anyways, this kind of the way Trump breaks it down, it makes me laugh.
He can't play in the next game, at least in the next game. I said, boy, that's a big, if it happened to another player, it would have been unfair. But when they take your best player, or just about, they have some great players, and they say you can't play, that's very unfair. That's, it's one thing to penalize somebody for the game, but how do you penalize them for a game that hasn't been played yet? It's very unfair. You can't do that. So, yes, I asked for a review by FIFA. I spoke to a man who's highly respected, and by the way, whose level of respect has gone up tenfold. And he was good before this started, but he really pushed it in this country. I'm the one that got them to do it. It was not Biden. Biden was asleep. I got him to do it. In fact, it was very sad because I got him to do it. And if the progression was normal, I would have been retired. Now, the Democrats are saying, man, we should have just let him have his way. We would have had him gone. But I said, the saddest thing is I got the Olympics and I got the World Cup. I tried to claim 250 years too, but that didn't work. They said, that one is what it is. No, I tried, but it didn't work. But wait. So I got him. I was so proud of it. And then I realized that, I wouldn't be president during that because I would have been out of office by that time. I felt badly. The beautiful thing about what I did is I ran. I never thought of it. And then all of a sudden I realized, I just got the Olympics, and I totally got that myself. And I just got FIFA. I got that myself. We gave a little piece to Canada, gave a little piece to Mexico. I got that myself. And a lot of people helped, like that man right there, Kevin. A lot of people, that.
Democrats are going to be so mad about this. He's right. He brought this here, which, again, lots of patriotism because of FIFA World Cup being here in America, leading into the midterms. And then we get the Olympics in Los Angeles in 28, heading into the 28 election. That's massive, folks. So Trump, just brilliant how he set all this up. But again, so he just called out how rigged it is. He called out the ref. He calls out the stupidity of the red card rule, where in this international competition, you can just arbitrarily suspend somebody for the next game. It's so ridiculous. It's so stupid. Calls all that out. Everybody loves it. But then the full story is that he went to Lutnick And Lutnick had lawyers that knew the FIFA guys. Those lawyers work with FIFA. They contacted FIFA. And I have a feeling there was some, Trump was like, will you talk to this guy? I have a feeling there was some strong arming there. Like, are you seriously going to do this to us? And so anyways, he's back. And this is what's going to drive everybody crazy.
You get a red card. Nah, bro, I have the Trump card. I win. What? That's not how it works.
Because now everybody has to admit that Trump saved our team. It's so amazing. And it's Dave Portnoy's already calling it out.
I'm going to need some fact checking from fact check people. But I've seen a lot of talk that this has been done before in the World Cup. Like Ronaldo had his suspension pushed off, a bunch of things. So it's not the first time this has ever happened. It was the right call. And this is united a nation. I'll also say, and I know, T-Bob, you're not a Trump guy, and I don't know people's politics. If you are against this and you're a United States citizen, deported. I want you out of the country. If you have a problem with this guy playing because you're letting politics get in the way and you don't like Trump place a phone call and you think this is wrong, deported. I want you on the first bus, plane, train. See ya. Go live somewhere else. This is about winning soccer. I'm going to need some.
Portnoy is a liberal. He's a Dem. He's saying this. And so, again, just beautiful. But it tells you there are people going to Portnoy. Portnoy's hearing it in their own circles. Deported, get like screw this. Trump did this. This is jacked up. People rooting against our own team. Isn't that crazy? That crazy, but it is happening. But regardless, like it or not, like Trump or not, he saved Team America. And hopefully we win tonight. If we get to 8, we're only 2 wins away. I think 3 wins away. Sorry. But that's very close. We haven't been to 8 since 2002. So this is getting very, very exciting. And, you know, they just can't stand how well this is going for us. Here's an amazing video breakdown of a guy who came here from Germany and just having a crazy reaction to being in America. This is like this World Cup is legitimately having an effect on the entire world and our standing in the world. Listen to this.
A German fan is brought to tears not because Germany was eliminated from the World Cup, but because of how he was treated in America.
I fall in love with this country and this was so emotional. I even cried in the stadium.
Call it a stereotype or a reputation that New Englanders are cold, even rude. But that couldn't be further away from the truth, at least not for a lot of visitors that are here for the World Cup. Sebastian Kraus has been spending the last several weeks in the U.S. following the German soccer team from Houston to Boston. Sebastian was afraid of coming over, saying that the news in Europe painted a picture of America being dangerous. But at every stop from the moment he landed, he says everyone has treated him with kindness and respect and has not felt unsafe.
Americans are not rude, Germans are not rude. If we are together, we can achieve great things.
Those experiences were topped by a New Englander's generosity. A Red Sox fan who, after a German celebration at Fenway Park, offered Sebastian and his friends to give him a ride to their hotel. It was a culmination of all his moments of joy that then led to this. That stranger is Bob Cyrus. He says all he wanted to do was to make Sebastian feel welcome.
Love USA.
Enjoy your time in the U.S.
To me, I watched the video by myself maybe 40 times. I had tears in my eyes.
Just like many others have when he's traveled the world.
This is incredible. This is completely changing the idea of thousands and thousands. Think of how many thousands of people, if not millions of people, have come here from abroad and are experiencing our country under Trump, by the way, the great dictator. Unbelievable. Just absolutely game changer. This guy's crying because it's like he's been so blessed by America. He says, I love this country now. This is a shift. See, and these are the things not a lot of people like to talk about. Yes, it's fun to share these videos, but what people aren't talking about is that these are the things that shift the culture moving forward. There are young people right now who are watching that Trump just saved our team America, who are rooting for America, who are devastated when this guy got the red card and was going to be suspended. Teenagers, 10-year-olds who love soccer watching this, that their parents might be liberal, but they just have to hear that Trump saved their team, that we get to be a whole team tonight. It's very similar to the Europeans coming over here and finding out that this dictatorship, evil, dangerous American country they've been hearing about is nothing like it at all. Those are the things that stick with you. You learn, as much as you hate Trump, you got to say, yeah, but at least he got this guy for it. That's a chink in their armor, and it'll eventually spread. So what's happening right now because of the World Cup is amazing. And it's showing us that there is, all people have to do is experience something to wake up. And I think going forward, we're going to see this spreading in a very positive way for everything we're hoping for in the future. All right, guys. Love you. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, go Team America. And you guys are the best. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody's stuff. Holy cow, 3 hours and 20 minutes. I told you I had a lot to get to today. A lot. Jayhawker, welcome to the membership. Now you get access to all the goodies, all the members' lives, including last night's member live, where I really went into deep dive on my July 4th trip. Listen, guys, if you do want to continue to support the channel, if you really love what you get here, if you want memberships, our members' lives, plus access to the 24/7 Discord, you want to get into the Patreon, you want to go to the description, click that link, you get a free month. That is my gift to you. That free month then can become a full-time membership if you decide to stay. If not, you can cancel, and God bless you. But I think you'll like it. The community is amazing, and everything, the members' lives are fun, so it's a whole different experience in there. And and it supports the channel, which my channel is, other than the little bit of ad revenue I get from YouTube, I don't have any sponsors, so it is user or viewer supported. So every little bit helps, and so I can keep putting these shows on for you guys. So thank you for that. Let's see. Let me catch it with anybody else. Please hit that like, subscribe, especially if you're new. I appreciate you guys coming. Let's put this one on the background as we go through this. The Trump card. So funny. Let's see. Anybody tag me on anything? The more Portnoy he drinks, the more conservative he becomes. I don't know if that's true, but that's funny. TL says, there are a lot of Europeans who don't want to go home and say it on camera. Can you imagine how they're going to feel when they go home after being pampered, knowing they've been lied to? Oh, yeah, it's going to change a lot of things. They're going to want to make their country better. That's for sure. Somebody said, I think Massey crowd could steal votes from Vance or Rubio and allow Dems to possibly win. No, it's not going to happen. You got to understand that Thomas Massey, if he runs for president in 28, first of all, he'll never get through the primary, so he'd run as independent in the general. Massey does not have that many hardcore supporters, okay? And a lot of his supporters are actually liberal. So let's say Massey gets 2%. I think it's split, half conservative or libertarian that would have voted for Vance or Rubio, and half liberal. He splits the vote. He's a hero on the left too. So yeah, I don't see Massey being a threat at all. I'm really not worried about him. Okie Sooner says, you have one of the most fully rounded, entertaining, fact-filled learning podcasts I've ever seen. Love you. Appreciate that, man. Thank you, Okie. I really appreciate that. You're awesome, man. All right, Devin. God bless you, man. DJ says, I see Stephen A. Smith running on behalf of the black community as a centrist Democrat, reparations being his main policy, only be beaten by a socialist, black community feel betrayed. Maybe. I don't think Stephen A. is going to run. I think it would be, losing would be too hard on his brand. So I don't think he'll run. I think he just likes the attention that he could run. I don't think he'll actually run. Okay. What else we got here? Donald has the greatest, biggest, beautiful brazen brass balls ever, bar none. I love it. Thank you, Jayhawker. I appreciate you, man. All right. All right, guys. Well, love you guys. I do got to get off. It's been a long show, but I'll be back again tomorrow at noon. So please hit that like, subscribe, and let's end in a prayer as always, and then go Team America tonight. So Heavenly Father, thank you for today. God, I bless everybody watching, and I thank you for them, Lord, their support and their friendships and everything in between. Just bless them, Lord, and whatever it is they need. And Father, we pray for our president, pray for his protection, his for wisdom for him, and for courage, God, in every situation. Continue that he can fix impossible problems, Lord, in ways that last for generations. God, give them what they need to win the midterms, and to, God, see through and expose all the communist crap going on so that we can win decisively. I pray for more exposure in our land, God, and justice to follow. Pray for justice, peace, and prosperity to come back to America like we've never seen before. And I pray that you would, God, encourage us and inspire each one of us to whatever it is we can do, no matter how small, how big, to move forward and advance this movement, God, of reclaiming America and getting our culture back so that we can leave a better country to our kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Love you guys. Appreciate you so much. Thanks for watching. And if you want to hit me up in the Discord. All right. You guys have a blessed day, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. God bless.
Screaming like a siren at night, red and blue shouting, nobody's right. Smoke in the streets, truth under attack. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling, nerves stay tight. Matchsticks flicked in the